Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan, Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks looking to push the Pacers to a Game 6. 5 o'clock tip on TNT and Max. The Knicks are 4-point favorites. The Mariners and Nationals in a rubber match this evening at T-Mobile Park. 6:40 first pitch on FS1. Emerson Hancock starting for Seattle. Mackenzie Gore for Washington. The Mariners lead over the Astros in the AL West down to just one game. On the ice, Game 5 of the Western Conference Final in Dallas as the Stars try to force a Game 6 against the Oilers. Puck drops at 5 o'clock on ESPN. The Stars currently at minus 135 on the money line. And round one of the Memorial Tournament at Muirfield in Dublin, Ohio. Ben Griffin finishes his round on fire, birding 4 of his last 5 holes. He shoots a 7 under 65. That's a 2-stroke lead over Colin Morikawa. Then all alone in third place, 4 strokes off the pace, is Shane Lowry. Among those tied for 4th at 2 under par, you got Tommy Fleetwood and Keegan Bradley. Harris English and Sepp Straka are both 1 under par, and then Ricky Fowler, Tony Finau, Jordan Spieth, Scotty Scheffler, all at even par. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The inside story on the Blazers, Ducks, and Beavers. Danny and Dusty. Weekdays noon to 3 on the Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan. This is Danny and Dusty.
Meringatang is going to be a thing.
You're not coining anything new.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
I'll throw some monkey sounds in there and call it good.
The old Danny meringue pie?
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
The Fan.
Good afternoon! Hey, welcome in. Happy Thursday. How we doing?
We're doing good. Look at you, back in the saddle again. You're never going to leave it.
Yeah, I am tomorrow.
No, you're not leaving it.
Yep. I'm going to be out for quite a while. I got business to get done.
You got brand man things to do.
Yeah. Yesterday, Nemec came in. It was thank you to Andrew Nemec for coming in.
Shout out to Andrew.
Shout outs to Andrew Nemec and his crazy little backyard that he has. He has pictures. He lives backed up to a wetlands. He had all these pictures of the wildlife creatures, the little woodlands creatures in his backyard. He had rabbits and deers and all those things coming out. Yesterday was hot. Today,
not.
We go back.
Boy, does it
See,
suck.
this is how it's going to go. Tomorrow, hot again. I love this. This is where Oregon makes its money. All right? It just teases you, confuses you. You're not sure what to expect. I'm here for all of it. Big congratulations, my alma mater, Southern Oregon. The Lady Raiders winning the national championship in softball today. Hey! 3 hours of it. 3 hours of it. Lady Raiders, 4 softball titles since 2019. Dynasty.
Oh, wow.
In Ashland. Yeah. Oregon gets underway in the Women's College World Series with UCLA tonight, 6:30. Look, we could be, is this like a baseball softball state that we're living in right now?
Turns out.
Because Oregon State in the hosting regionals on the baseball side. You got the Duck women in the Women's College World Series. Southern wins the title. In the semifinals, they beat Eastern Oregon in the softball. And then, on top of that, last night, history happened in the NAIA baseball title. LSU Shreveport won. They went 57-0.
Is that good?
That's really good. They went 57-0 on the season. They are coached by Brad Neffendorf, who is an Oregonian.
There you go.
His dad is like a legendary girls basketball coach at Glencoe and Westview, Bend, and then he was the AD at Tigard, or principal at Tigard. But the Neffendorf family, deep roots here in the state of Oregon, and Brad Neffendorf, Oregonian, 57-0.
It's a pretty good run.
That's a good season.
Yeah.
That's a good like in
That's so
in the
hard.
game of baseball.
That's so hard because there's so much randomness and so much variability in baseball.
Yeah.
Like, you hit a ball a millimeter this way, you catch a weird hop this way. Like, the fact that they won every game is bonkers.
Yeah.
Like, that's just baseball. Even the best baseball teams of all time in Major League Baseball. The Mariners, 117 wins?
116.
116?
Yeah.
Like, that's still 50 losses? 40 losses? 40 losses? Like, you're still you're gonna pick up some
46.
Yeah, you're still gonna pick up some losses.
It's crazy to think about. Like, that means your pitching staff was nails all season long. Your bats never went cold. You didn't just have a weird day where baseball just goes all baseball on you and you have a round ball with a round bat and you're trying to square it up. No, you go 57-0. That's nuts. So I don't care who you are or what level it is. That's hard to do.
Yeah. Over that many games. Look, if
Yeah.
you're talking about like you're doing high school and it's like 26 or 28 games or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because you can have such like wild disparities in any game. Like, you could have a team that has Clayton Kershaw and Matthew Stafford on it.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, cool. Like, you can see that because when you get to the like upper echelons, whether it's baseball or softball, when somebody's that much better, you get a Bryce Harper on your team or whatever, you get a Jenny Finch on your team at Arizona. It's like, yeah, okay.
Well, in softball, you have one pitcher. She can pitch every game.
Yeah, forever. Yeah, you can just dominate. But it's
Natural
like,
throwing motion.
but 57-0 is bonkers. So shout out to those guys.
Shout out
that's
to LSU
yeah.
Shreveport. Did not know it was a school.
No, I didn't either.
No clue. And I went and I was like, all right, because I knew Brad growing up, and so I looked up his record there is 268-49.
Wow.
I was like, he's probably gonna get some big jobs calling his way, right?
How'd he lose the other 49?
I don't know. He's got a good thing rolling there.
Good Lord.
It's got good, but that's like at these small schools, a lot of these folks, they realize grass isn't always greener. Like SOU's coach, she won a national title, went down, got a big job, and I don't know. She's like somewhere, I don't know, D2, D1, AA type school.
Mm.
She's like, nah, I'm coming back. And they just like find your niche at your small school. You're just going to have great teams. You find your role. You find the people that fit in the area. And you can just create a machine.
It's not a bad way to go about it.
Linfield football.
Yeah.
Like.
How many undefeated seasons in a row?
No, it's winning seasons. And I think they're at, I don't know.
Is it in the,
some Linfield person will
Is it in
know.
like 30s?
No, it's like, it might be in the 60s.
Is it that high? Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The Cat Dome people will text in 503-864-6326. That is the fan text line. Yeah, they are up to 68 consecutive winning seasons.
Good Lord.
Streak began in 1956.
How many different coaches?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
But actually not as many as you would think.
But still, I mean, like,
because I think it may have started with Paul Durham, then went to Ad Rutschman and Jay Losi, Joe Smith now. But
I'm saying
probably
that's
some others
multiple,
sprinkled in
that's
there.
multiple eras, multiple coaches, multiple styles, multiple voices. Like,
yeah, they just dominate.
that's Steelers-esque.
Hate Linfield. But love the guys there. Love the guys there.
Now,
Hate Linfield.
you and somebody else you're on the
Hate
text
Linfield.
line. I dated a Linfield girl and she left me for a football player. No joke.
Well,
So at least two people hate
they
Linfield.
win it more than football, I guess.
Give you good reasons to hate them.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, I didn't know how this show got to where it is now, but here we are.
Oh, that's 3 years.
What? 3 years?
Yeah.
Oh.
How we get.
Yeah, well,
That-
yeah,
that-
that is true. That is true. All right. This is a good text too. When we were talking about 57-0 is impressive, the De La Salle High School football
Oh, yeah.
win streak That was incredible.
Was it at 119,
Uh,
118, something like that?
yeah.
I feel like it was in the 1-teens.
But and then they were just pumping out D1 kids left and right.
Yeah.
Let's see, De La Salle football win streak, 151.
Oh God, it got that high.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
You know,
Didn't they make a movie about that?
well, not the win streak, but just kind of like, it had the guy from Passion of the Christ was in it.
Yeah.
Caviezel.
Jim Caviezel.
Jim
Yeah.
Caviezel.
He was the head coach, right?
Yep, he was the head coach there. And then it had, it went into, oh gosh, the Oregon commit who was tragically killed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, went into that whole thing. But, yeah. You know what the hard part is, though? What if you were on like that? Their win streak went from 1992 to 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Tough to be on that 2014.
Right? You blew it!
Yeah. And the team they lost to was Bellevue. Pretty good. Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were taking on all comers at that point, like tried and beat us. And somebody said, all right. And they did.
Mm-hmm. And look, they weren't playing cupcakes before that.
No.
I mean, they were taking on the biggest teams in the country.
And that would suck. What if you're the worst school in that league?
Just getting. I mean, that league is loaded.
You're just getting absolutely hammered.
You're losing by 60 and 70. Like those the schools
Just
in
throw
that
your hands
league.
up, be like, yeah, whatever, man.
It's a D1 pipeline.
Because there's got to be even like we hear about all these great schools like. Right now, down in Texas, Duncanville High School is one of those where they have like they have like a top 3 recruit every year in the country. And you're just like, golly, where these kids grow on trees down there? Well, there's got to be at least a team that is got normal high school kids on it that is just getting pumped every week. And that sucks for them. Like they don't got a shot. You're just sitting there and you're getting thrown to the wolves every single week, and especially when you play a powerhouse like those teams, that would not be good. That would not be good at all. Terrence Kelly was the player's name. Terrence Kelly. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll be damned. Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
That's talking Concord, California high school sports.
We're talking, and the LSU Shreveport.
Yeah.
57-0. That's nuts.
That's like that.
What if
is 57-0 in softball / baseball?
That's baseball, yeah.
Like, is that more impressive than 150 in high school football? Just because
doing
of
it in 1 year.
Because
I don't
of
know, 92 to 2004 is
it's nuts,
crazy.
but like the volatility of baseball, is just so crazy. Yeah. Where football, more often than not, the better team just wins.
Yeah, but 12 years and not having a down year. That's pretty crazy.
No, it is. It is. Again, they're both insane. They're both insane. Like baseball, though, is just
baseball's such a mental game. It's really hard.
So much more one-on-one.
Yeah.
Like things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Are so much more punishing.
Like you're playing a 3-game set against that team, and say it's like end of the regular season, and you're like, dude, we got beat like 10-0 the first 2 games. Can anybody throw a knuckleball?
Yeah, like
we're just gonna go out there. Hey, let's just try something.
Do you just start like doing all of the things? You're suicide squeezing. You're dropping bunts
just to
down. Whenever
see if you can beat this juggernaut.
Trying to pop a steal here, like just you would think that at some point in time, some team they're playing is like, no, we're like it doesn't matter what we do. We need to put a blemish on the record.
Yeah, no, nobody can't be stopped.
It's impressive.
All right, I didn't even get to what I wanted to get to here in this segment, so we're gonna have to get to it at some point. I've been violated.
Oh.
Yep, I've been violated, and I don't know what to do about it.
Have you talked to somebody about it?
I have. I've talked to a few people about it. I'm about to talk to a lot more about it.
All right. It's a safe space.
But I don't know what the purpose was.
We'll
get to that next. Danny Dusty on the Fan. All right, 503-864-6326. That's the fan text line. So last night, somebody broke into my wife and I's cars.
Did you shoot them?
No, because I didn't know. They didn't take anything. They just went through and removed everything out of the center console of our cars and put it on our seats. That's it. Like, they didn't go through the glove box.
That bothers me more.
That's an odd move.
It bothers me more. That doesn't sound like that.
And I don't know what they were doing.
Has anybody else in the neighborhood reported anything? Have you talked to any? Did you report it to the cops?
No, because what are they going to do? They're not going to dust our car.
No.
And nothing was stolen.
But it's not a bad idea to.
There's nothing, like, it was just like, damn. Our Ring camera didn't pick anything up. We have neighbors who have cameras, and they're going through it and looking. They're retired, so they got a lot of time.
There you go.
So they're just going to
Those are great people to have for neighbors.
Oh, they're great. They're awesome.
Yeah.
They're awesome. And if a mouse farts in our front yard, there's a floodlight that pops on.
Nice.
I love it. But they got their cameras, like, look right to where our cars are parked. So, and then our other neighbors, they got cameras, so we'll be able to see there. And we weren't able to find all of them, or talk to all of them this morning. But it's unsettling is the thing. It's like, what were you doing? What were you looking for? I had my sunglasses were in my car. They weren't visible from looking in. Nothing was. But they took my sunglasses out of where I keep them, and they just put them on my seat. They took everything out of the center console and just put it on the seat. Didn't go through the glove box. I don't know what they were doing.
Y'all want to buy some drugs?
No. I would be shocked if that was the case.
I think maybe they were looking for like a checkbook, but who uses those? Not me.
My first thought.
Well, I don't have them in my car.
My first thought is typically with crimes of opportunity, the prowlers and stuff like that, they're just going to take whatever's valuable. So that I strike that away immediately.
Yeah.
If you're talking about a tweaker, they're going to take anything that's not nailed down, especially anything small that they can carry that can possibly sell. So it kind of takes care of that. This sounds like somebody either screwing with you in a very malicious way or somebody trying to show you that they can get to your stuff.
Yeah.
And that's scarier to me than somebody just getting into my car. Like, you're right. You're violated.
Yeah.
And like, that's where I go, like, the psychology of this stuff, like, that bothers me more.
Yeah.
Like, take something.
Yeah. Like, at least then I'm like, oh, they took something. I have no idea. I have no clue. I have no idea what was.
No, were the doors unlocked, or did they break windows?
No windows were broken. My car was locked, so I don't know how they got in there. My wife's, I don't know.
And yours is a new enough car where the coat hanger is probably difficult to do.
Sure, I'm not versed in breaking into cars, but you sound like you are. But here's the thing: is like, you can go on YouTube and you can find anything on YouTube. Like, when we have two different makes and models of cars, and like, you can.
Have you seen what people are doing now?
No.
To get into cars.
Like the cloning.
Yeah, So what they do is they can put up an RF net and block it and get the transmission. It's the right signal, scan for it and grab it and just steal your car. It's crazy. It's and these aren't like the highest level car theft rings out there. Like, this is what's happening for like run of the mill like car theft rings. It's actually nuts.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's making me want to go away from an electric key.
Go back to the old days.
It was weird. I was driving my Silverado. It's a 08 while I was having the Fusion worked on, and it's a turnkey. And the number of times I got in and just like pushed my foot on the brake and went to push a button, and I was like, nope, need my keys. I had to like actually get them out of my pocket and start the truck. It was like, this is weird.
A couple of weeks ago, I was driving my buddy has a new Lincoln Navigator. I couldn't figure out how to put it into drive. because I'm sitting there. I turned the car on. I was like, all right, got this. And I was like, oh boy. I was looking around everywhere.
Was it a dial?
It doesn't have, nope. I looked at the dial. They had a dial, not to put the car into drive. I was like, how the hell do you put this thing into drive? And they had like 4 little buttons on the center console, like below where you change the radio, and it's push button for each one. Like it had park, drive, neutral, reverse, 4-wheel. And I was like, that is very confusing for me.
Yeah.
And so when I got back, I was like, he's like, how was it? I'm like, well, once I got it into drive, he's like, oh, yeah, that was a doozy for you. Like, yeah, it could have been helpful. He's like, yeah, I just got used to it.
Yeah,
So
does that deploy the smoke screen, the spikes, like, it's the
like,
James Bond car?
It did. It looked like it did. It looked like a Bond car or like the Batmobile where I can cast a net out the back. I have no clue what was going on
center.
here.
Yeah.
But that was one way you feel very old very quickly. Is like, how do I get this car in drive?
It took me forever to get used to the whole keyless thing.
Yeah.
It's still weird.
It's nice though because you always know if you have your keys.
You know what I just figured out the other day is that this thing comes out.
Yeah, and
has
you have a key. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Oh, they should have told you that when you bought your car.
No, I didn't. Oh, I bought it from somebody used. It had 4,000 miles on it. But yeah, I had no idea that was there.
Yeah. The text line is saying this happens a lot to people. Maybe if somebody has the Step Brothers theory. Maybe you slept walk to the car and you did it. I mean, I don't think so. That'd be one hell of a video if our neighbors have that, though.
We had something similar-ish happen at our place years ago. I had a car that was dead and just kind of sat in the driveway, right, for a while. That we came to find out that on at least one occasion, somebody had gotten in that thing and just slept in the car in our driveway.
Interesting. Oh,
Crazy Mike and the boys.
Yeah, right. Little soup kitchen.
Dirty Mike and the boys.
Dirty Mike, that Crazy Mike.
Here's
left a note.
I got some good ones. If you have an iPhone, run the AirTag app on your phone to see if someone put one in your car, so people can see if you're home or not.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's terrifying.
But why would they rummage through stuff? In like
throw you off the scent.
You just throw it. I'm not gonna do. Just throw it under my seat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I never look there.
Amongst all the French fries.
What's happening here?
I keep nothing in my car. If you break into my car, you're gonna find an empty energy drink, a golf tee, and a lacrosse stick. Enjoy. Oh, and some crutches.
Yeah.
If you break into my car, go ahead. It's unlocked. I don't care. Just don't break the windows.
All right.
I'd rather somebody break into my car and steal my lacrosse stick out of the freaking trunk than break my windows. Just don't. I'd much rather have somebody just open the freaking door than lock my car and be worried about somebody busting out the windows. Because you know what it costs to get your freaking windows fixed now?
A lot.
It's like $500-$600 a window.
Yeah, it's not good, dude.
No.
All right. I feel better that I'm not alone in this, but it's also unsettling that so many other people have had this happen. Theme of the day, don't be an a-hole. How about that? Can we go to that?
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
All right. Don't rummage through people's stuff and take anything or not take anything.
That's messed up.
Neither one. Good. Not good. All right? All right. Well, sports now, huh?
You want to go from one fraud to another?
I don't think he's a fraud.
Oh, I was saying the team.
You know what? I'm not going to. No, I don't want to do that because I want to praise winners.
Okay.
I want to praise winners
There you go.
because the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing something that nobody's done since the Portland Trailblazers back in 1977. Danny and Dusty. Here's Rust with Sports Center.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on The Fan, Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks looking to push the Pacers to a Game 6. 5 o'clock tip on TNT and Max. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 4:30. The Knicks are 4-point favorites. On the ice, Game 5 of the Western Conference Final in Dallas. The Stars trying to force a Game 6 against the Oilers. Puck drops at 5 o'clock on ESPN. The Stars are currently at minus 135 on the money line. Mariners and Nationals in a rubber match this evening at T-Mobile Park. 6:40 first pitch on FS1. Emerson Hancock starting for Seattle. Mackenzie Gore for Washington. Mariners lead over the Astros in the AL West is down to just one game. And round one of the Memorial Tournament at Muirfield in Dublin, Ohio. Ben Griffin, a 7 under 65 on the day. That leaves him 2 strokes clear of Colin Morikawa, who is also in the clubhouse. Tied for third at 3 under par are Shane Lowry and Tommy Fleetwood. Among those tied for fifth at 2 under par, you've got Keegan Bradley, and then tied for 10th, 1 under, Harris English and Scotty Scheffler. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's back. The 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club happens Tuesday, June 24th. Presented by your local Toyota dealers. Reserve your foursome now at 1080thefan.com.
The Oklahoma City Thunder are headed to the NBA Finals. Boy, they kicked the pants right off those Minnesota Timberwolves last night. That game was not even close.
It was over in the first 5 minutes.
It was a rollover game, and look, everybody wanted Ant Edwards to be more assertive. He was forced up a lot of bad shots early in the game, and they just never felt like they had it. At the beginning of the series, you said this one could be a big one for Rudy Gobert. Boy, he did not play well
in the series
at all.
No. And it's going to be very interesting. We can take a little bit of time to talk about Minnesota a little bit later. But like you said, celebrating winners here.
Winners.
The Thunder, they came out like a team that had their back against the wall. And they were so disruptive, so locked in.
Yeah.
The goal of put this team away. Let's see if we can get a little bit of extra rest. because the Pacers the next night, the Pacers can win, and it's one night of rest. But if this goes a little bit longer, you can maybe extend that and force, hope that goes, a little bit better for you. But you take care of business the best as you can, and all the graphics that have come out, and all the stats and numbers, the Thunder have almost a 25 point per game margin at home. They're the second youngest team to make the finals on average total age.
Hold on. Let's start with what this Thunder team has done just at home in the postseason. They are in 9 home games plus 231 point differential. They've won by 51, 19, 43, 7, 32, 36, 15, and 30. 7 of their 8 games they've won by double digits, and they have won 4 games of the 8 games they have won at home by 30 or more points. They aren't just beating teams, they are snatching their will. In the one game that they lost, Bill Simmons pointed this out. The one home game they lost, game 1 to Denver, they were up by 9 with 3 minutes to go and lost by 2.
Yeah, and Aaron Gordon forces that overtime on the kick out 3.
It's absolutely insane what they are doing at home, especially. But to do it at the age that they are, the average age of that team is 24.7 years old. You said it's second youngest team to ever make the finals. The youngest being the 1977 Portland Trailblazers, which were 24 and a half years old.
Now, if you change it up by average weighted age, they get a little bit older because a guy like Caruso plays a heavier minutes load. Hartenstein plays a little bit more minutes, like those kind of things. But they are incredibly young, and they are kind of defying the model. The other crazy thing about this, I can't remember. I wish I could remember who said it or who caught it. The Thunder are going to go to the NBA Finals. Do you know how many games they lost to the Eastern Conference this year?
1. Yeah, they
on the road to Cleveland.
Mark Spears said this.
Yeah,
they lost 1 game to the Eastern Conference all season long,
and it was on the road.
Yeah,
they did not lose to an Eastern Conference team at home,
and that was a hell of a game too. That OKC Cleveland game.
Yep.
That I mean,
Cleveland played lights out in that game.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
That's incredible to think about because of the fact that if you want to go and you look at, all right, best record versus anybody. So for comparison's sake, I think the Western Conference next closest record in the Western Conference against the East was 21-9.
Yeah.
Both the Rockets and the Clippers went 21-9 against the Eastern Conference. The Cavs went 23-7 against Western Conference opponents. The Celtics went 22-8. No, like to go 29-1 is insanity. And oh, by the way, that Cleveland team was bounced 2 series ago.
Yeah.
They have got they've handled their business against Indiana, handled their business against the Knicks. Granted, they didn't play them a whole heck of a lot, but it's still incredible to do, no matter what.
Yeah, it's we were talking about with LSU Shreveport going 57-0, going 29-1 against another conference, and I don't care how down the Eastern Conference is, night to night over an 82-game season. That's tough, man. That's tough, and then we kind of wondered if Denver was going to be the team that pressed them the most. They took them to 7. They really tested them. OKC gets their scars. They get their doors blown off by the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves 1 win in the series. But other than that, they just boat raced this team.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, the game before was a 2-point game, but it never felt like it was that dire or that much in the balance.
And another incredible series from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, he was Western Conference Finals MVP. He drops 34 in the elimination game last night.
Yeah, 34, 7, and 8 is a ho-hum night.
In the in the 5 games in this series, he dropped 31, 38, 40, 34.
Yeah.
He was incredible throughout the course of the series, but it's the 8 assists and 7 rebounds to go with 34 last night that just makes it incredible because he's playing at a ridiculous clip. He backs up his 40-10 in 9 game with 34, 8, and 7.
Yeah.
He is playing like the MVP right now. Michael Malone was right.
Yeah.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is showing why he's the MVP of the league.
He absolutely is, and the big part of this is, and now you've got a couple games in a row where SGA is going to SGA. Like it's this, he has kind of figured out how to be that guy. Which we'll talk about Ant Edwards in a little bit. Having to learn that. He's younger. That's going to happen. But the more important thing is that Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren are finding out how to be the number 2 and the number 3, and to fit in and deliver when they need to deliver. And that was the thing that last year did not happen. Hell, earlier in the playoffs did not happen.
Do you find it? I thought this stat was crazy that SGA is the first player to ever win MVP and Western Conference Finals MVP in the same year.
No, because the Western Conference MVP is still so new.
Yeah.
Or the Conference Finals MVP, the Magic Johnson and Larry Bird awards.
Well, they renamed them, but they've always had them. Like Kobe. Kobe never won one.
They haven't been around that long, I don't think.
I always remember them giving like a Conference Finals MVP. But I thought that was an interesting little nuggie there.
No, 2022.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why.
Then that stat sucks.
Yeah, no.
That stat sucks. Don't give me that stat. The only player to win the... So it would have been like him and Jokic were the only eligible players to do it?
Yeah.
All right, never mind. That stat sucks, Stat Muse. Don't fool me with that. Don't give me that. But he has been ridiculously impressive.
No, he has been, and it all depends on which series you kind of get into. If you're talking about like Denver with Jokic, or Giannis when he wins his MVP, like those are the opportunities you have there. You could have a Middleton have a monster series, or a Jamal Murray have a monster series, and end up getting that redemption or that accolade.
Yeah. Are we not appreciating the dominance of this team though? We kind of got into that a little bit with how impressive they've been. It doesn't feel like people care that Oklahoma City is doing what they are doing, and they've built it like the way that every team wishes their franchise would, through the draft, through big trades, making big swings, making the savvy moves on the periphery that make you a championship contender, like going out and getting Lou Dort and Caruso and those guys. Like they've kind of done everything right, yet nobody wants to acknowledge that what they've done is create a monster.
It's very similar to the Celtics, because as great as they are, like Tatum and Brown are incredible players. SGA is an incredible player, but guys just don't mess with them. There's something about them, both SGA and Tatum. It's why I've consistently said neither of those guys will ever be the face of the league. There's just something about them that's missing from like the front man. You know what I mean? It's not that SGA doesn't have style or swagger. It's just he doesn't have the juice. For whatever reason it may be, it's like Tatum. Like people just don't like Tatum.
And it's not because he's in Oklahoma City, because Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Like
Russ.
Yeah. But I Boston got so much more attention for how great they were.
Well, they did because it's Boston.
But they've always gotten the attention for the way they've built it, the guys that they have, and it was shoved down your throat. Nobody's doing that with this team. Everybody just talks about, well, they've got draft picks for days moving forward, and Sam Presti has just hoarded all the draft picks over the next 3 drafts. It doesn't feel like there's an appreciation for how good they are, how they got here, and the potential of it, because of the fact that all of these guys are young.
Yeah, 26,
really young.
24 and 23 between SGA, Jalen, and Chet.
And the fact that they have all of the draft capital, and their history tells you that they're not going to pay all of them in the prohibitive nature of the salary cap, but they've done a really good job of making trades that when they know that they've hit, boy, they push all in and they go around it. When they make a big trade and it doesn't go well, Paul George, they are willing to just go, no, we'll flip this asset, and we know we have other assets that we can pile on top of it so we can get something back. They have a window to be ultra competitive for a decade.
Did you see the line from Keith Smith?
No.
If the Pacers do indeed win, which I think people are all kind of expecting them to make the finals, they got a 3-1 lead. This will be the first time in the luxury tax era that neither team in the finals will be paying the luxury tax. And I think that's a very, very, very clear marker of what the CBA is dictating.
Yeah. I mean,
how smart
you
you cannot have bad contracts on your roster or big overpays or big disparities because you need to break that up.
I'll tell you what, if only Portland had a guy like Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan.
And all the work they've done without having a number 1 overall pick or a number 2 overall pick or a number 3 overall pick or a number 4 overall pick.
Those guys were really good at their jobs.
Yeah.
And the sweetest FU ever on the way out was Luke Babbitt and Armand Johnson in the same draft after you fire him before the draft.
Oh, boy.
Kevin Pritchard, everybody.
That we know.
But we remember, though, Kevin Pritchard here in Portland, the Pritch slap was, I think, he is savvy. He is smart.
It was
and you know what? He is really damn good at what he does because he makes deals happen. And that's the thing is like, that's why we've had this discussion so often. It really bothers me when I hear general managers say, well, there just weren't deals to be made and get done. No, the good ones, the great ones, the two that are probably going to be in the finals, they make those deals happen. They get them done.
What's interesting, Caitlin Cooper had something I thought that was pretty interesting. She covers the Pacers. If the Pacers do indeed make the finals, which again, presumptive, but very likely, they will both have gotten there trading Paul George.
Yeah, right? And that's the thing, too, is that you have to be willing to give something up to get something back. And both of these franchises have done it. I mean, you have got to be willing to say, hey, we are going to be making a big move here, and it's trust our process, trust that we know what we are doing, because they're good at their job, man.
They would have both traded Paul George and DeMontis Sabonis.
Dang.
Kind of crazy.
Where are those guys at?
Not in the playoffs.
Oh. All right. Well,
yeah.
All right. 503-864-6326. That be the fan text line. We've got little NFL news here because this may be the sign of the apocalypse for the NFL's next multi-billion-dollar venture. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. If you think an NFL division in London, England is a bad idea, this is not a good day for you. Because the NFL's tickets for their London games went on sale today, and fans were shocked when they got on there and they saw the queue was filled with 257,876 people to buy tickets to the NFL in London games. Caveat here, Ticketmaster was running the show. Don't know if you've heard about this, because we've talked about it a lot, though.
Yay.
Ticketmaster said, our techs have spotted some bad actors, and we are working to keep them out. Thank you for your patience. The process is insane. The ticket brokers and third parties, it's gone way too far.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pushing out all of the fans. If ticket prices by the league weren't doing it,
It's all of the secondhand nature of it.
this is making it so difficult to get people into stadiums.
We talked about this with the NFL and the individual franchises that are starting to, they've got tags on their tickets and they can see who's using them and who's not, who's reselling them, because they can check all that stuff.
I had a buddy who went to the Masters, and he had to check his badge every day that he came and he left,
Mhm.
and get it scanned. And they were checking IDs, putting it to faces. They
Yeah.
were making sure nobody was getting, the Masters is a different animal,
Mhm.
but if you want to take it seriously, teams
That's how you do it.
are going to have to crack down on it. But here's the thing about the NFL. Now, some bad actors were in the queue.
Not that
There
many.
weren't 200,000 of them.
No. No, the Brits are figuring out the whole football our way is pretty cool.
And the more that the NFL wants to make more and more money, and oh, by the way, that's their business,
Mhm.
the more that you're going to see a tinkering with. We're already seeing more and more games over there, so getting teams used to going over and playing over there. I feel like we are on a collision course, and I've always been against it and have just been like, this is not a good idea. I could totally see a division being in Europe at some point in the not too distant future.
2 English teams, 2 German teams.
The game is wildly popular in Spain.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Barcelona was, when NFL Europe was there,
Yeah.
it was actually, they actually went to games.
I just know Germany is gung-ho
Germany
for it.
is huge, and
Yeah.
if you go Munich, obviously with
Mhm.
the United States military presence there, it's big there. Berlin has had a large following in NFL Europe too. But yeah, if you were to go 2 in England, 2 in Germany, or just 1 in each country of England, France, Spain, and Germany,
Mhm.
I could see something like that
Because
happening.
geographically, if you've never been to Europe, it's not that far.
Mm-mm.
It's a matter of hours between those countries. It's not a big deal.
They're going to want to make billions more.
Mhm.
That's how they're going to make billions more.
It's an untapped market. The only thing is, do those teams, play half their schedule in their host countries and then spend the other half living out of a hotel? The travel part of that is going to be
Probably.
nightmare fuel to figure out. But from a selfish standpoint, not gonna lie, be pretty dope to go watch the Raiders play, the team in Germany or the team in Spain or the team in England.
Yeah.
That would be pretty sick.
That would be awesome.
I mean, that would be
And
something I
for-
would be down for.
And for teams, we're already seeing this now. Minnesota Vikings are doing it this year. The Jags have done it. Several teams have done this so far. They'll play 2 games in Europe,
Mhm.
and they will just stay there. And so a team plays a London team, then they travel to Germany, stay the week in Germany, play there, and then boom, they come back and they have 2 European games every 4 years or whatever. And that's the way that it goes. We already have it with the divisions and the alignments in the way they're matched up. I don't, from the American standpoint of it, it'd be tough, but at the same time, and it's a huge disadvantage with the time zones. I mean, a West Coast team having to go over there and
That's
play
brutal.
a 6 a.m. game.
It's an 8-hour difference.
I mean, you are it, but this is also what they would love. Opens up another TV window for them and a whole nother audience because they get numbers on those early morning games.
Not only that, like there are teams that have like there's actually the way this stuff is cut up. For those that aren't familiar with the minutia, like you have market rights. Like if you're taking a look at the NBA, like the Portland Trailblazers market rights go from basically the Oregon border up into Washington and in Alaska. And then they had those rights, like when they had Root Sports, like you would see, like, you know, Alaska was part of the market window. When Seattle gets a team back, Seattle's going to have to pay the Blazers for the market rights, and now they'll get a discount because of the expansion. They want those things to happen, but they have to do that. And the same thing in Las Vegas. I think there's something like 8 teams that have market rights in Las Vegas, and they're going to split that up. When everybody, whatever gets the Vegas team, they're going to have to pay all those rights fees for that region and how that breaks out. But that also holds true to international markets. There are teams that have market rights both in the NBA and the NFL, and you can actually look them up. You can see which teams own market rights in like North Africa or in Europe. Or
there's 2 things here. The A's had a stadium deal in place in San Jose. The Giants had the territorial rights to San Jose, and we're like, no. But the NFL global markets, we do have that. The Seahawks have Canada. Well, they have BC. If you look at the teams that have territorial rights in Canada, the only outlier here is the Arizona Cardinals somehow. But the Bills, Vikings, Seahawks, Lions, and then the Bengals too are kind of an outlier. But the Seahawks have international rights in Canada, Australia, Austria, Switzerland. Very small country, has a lot of, and I mean they're neutral. New Zealand, and that's Germany. They have international rights in 6 different countries. Germany has international rights to the Falcons, Panthers, Lions, Packers, Colts, Chiefs, Patriots, Giants, Steelers, Seahawks, and Buccaneers.
You can tell who's trying to get where.
England, the United Kingdom as a whole, I should say, has let's see here, 9 teams.
And of course the Jaguars featuring front and center for that.
Ravens, Bears, Packers, Jags, Chiefs, Dolphins, Vikings, Jets, and 49ers. How have they not gotten into like the Vikings being in
Nordic countries?
Norway? Yeah. Spain is the Bears, Chiefs, and Dolphins. Boy, the Chiefs are really dominating these countries that love football.
Winning teams. Like when you're trying to get into expanding markets, that's where you go.
Yeah, but it's in Africa too, as you mentioned, like the Eagles in Ghana, Nigeria, the Cleveland Browns have rights there. It's all over, man. It truly is.
The NFL and the NBA are both trying to dig deep into Africa.
This one is perfect. Guess what team has territorial rights in France? It's a no-brainer.
Who surrenders?
Well, they don't really surrender, but culturally, they fit to a T, including their logo.
I have no idea.
Russ, do you want to take a guess on this one?
I got nothing.
Think of the logo.
I was thinking red, white, and blue.
Think of the team that has a lot of French culture.
Oh, New Orleans.
Yeah, the Saints.
That makes sense.
The Saints. Yeah. The Saints are the only team with territorial rights in France.
It makes sense. The Fleur de Lis makes sense. It's a natural cultural.
I don't know, the French Quarter.
Yeah.
being right next to their stadium.
Yeah.
You know you
can draw on some cultural ties for sure. Although they don't want
the whole Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah. I mean, even then, I don't know if the French want to acknowledge their Cajun brethren.
Yeah. Well, we'll go down there.
Tom Segura was right. Put a fence around all of the Cajuns.
Yeah, man. But they're great. They're great. Yeah, we had Texter got it. Texter got it. All right. 503-864-6326. That's a fan text line. Hour number 2, we start. We have kick times, early season kick times. And boy, there's some news with the Oregon Ducks. 3 big factors on the early kick times for their regular season. Danny Dusty on the Fan.
Isaac and Sue.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on the Fan, Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight from Madison Square Garden. The Knicks looking to push the Pacers to a Game 6. 5 o'clock tip on TNT and Max. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 4:30. The Knicks are 4-point favorites. On the diamond, Mariners and Nationals in a rubber match this evening at T-Mobile Park. 6:40 first pitch on FS1. Emerson Hancock starting for Seattle. Mackenzie Gore for Washington. The Mariners lead in over the Astros in the AL West, now down to just one game. On the ice, Game 5 of the Western Conference Final in Dallas. The Stars looking to force a Game 6 against the Oilers. Puck drops at 5 o'clock on ESPN. The Stars currently minus 135 on the money line. And it's the first round of the Memorial Tournament at Muirfield in Dublin, Ohio. Ben Griffin finished his day on fire, birdieing 4 of his final 5 holes. That leaves him at a 7 under 65, 2 strokes clear of Colin Morikawa at 5 under. And then tied for third at 3 under par are Shane Lowry, Max Homa, and Tommy Fleetwood. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. This is Danny and Dusty.
It's not your problem, Doc. You don't have to mix up in this.
That is a hell of a thing for you to say to me.
With Danny Meringue and Dusty, the Fan Man Hera.
Go ahead. Go ahead, skin it. Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app and 1080
I'm your huckleberry.
The Fan.
Hour number 2, Danny and Dusty with you on this Thursday afternoon. Thanks for being a part of our day, letting us be a part of yours. 1080 AM, 99.5 HD2, the Odyssey app, twitch.tv/1080am, The Fan, and the Party Animals on the YouTube stream. Party on Party People, youtube.com/1080am, The Fan. All right. The Oregon Ducks have released half of their kick times for the 2025 football season, and there are 3 notable times out of the 6 that were announced. the Ducks' first big nooner is going to happen this year.
Oh.
We got a big nooner. September 13th at Northwestern, a 9 a.m. Pacific time kick, Oregon versus the Wildcats. That is a tough one.
Yeah, it's a early kick time. That's difficult. Do you think they'll go out there? How many days out do you usually go out on the road?
Day before.
Do,
I mean, if it's an early game like that,
do you maybe go a day earlier?
maybe. I mean,
Try to get used to it a little bit.
yeah. Here's the thing. This is different. This is so different from the days of yesteryear where early kicks were. I remember when Stanford went out and got blasted by Northwestern when they had a far superior team and it was held against Stanford. Well, they played one of these early kicks and David Shaw was like, dude, our guys aren't used to this.
They're not even up normally by now.
What they have now is Oregon practices in the morning. Most colleges practice in the morning. So they are used to getting up early, having their body clock early, but getting ready for a game is far different than getting ready for a practice. You think of this 9 a.m. kick Pacific, your body clock, you got to wake up and go through your pregame routine. You're probably getting out of bed at 4:30 or 5 in the morning. And if there's one thing that we know about Oregon and their preparations, they're going to be maniacal with how early they get up all week long.
And something we know about young men, they're really good at getting up early in the morning.
Yeah, they are. They are. They are.
Yeah, notoriously known for it.
This is an interesting move because do you think there's a part of this being like Northwestern saying, yeah, we'll take big noon?
Oh, God, yes.
We'll take big noon on that one. Because Oregon has got a big following in Chicago. Like one of their biggest alumni outposts is outside of the Pacific Northwest is in Chicago. That's why they had big numbers at the Purdue game, big numbers at the Wisconsin game. And
turns out we stumbled into the biggest outpost in Washington, D.C. when we were there.
Weird. Random bar we walk into is like, what?
This is the home of the Ducks in Washington, D.C. Like, wait, really? All right.
But Northwestern has a 15,000 seat stadium they're playing in. Because this game is happening in September, they couldn't play it at Wrigley because the Cubs are playing that day at 11:20 a.m.
And not just that,
Pacific
the Cubs
time.
are playing good baseball.
They're playing very good baseball. So they know that there's two-prong here. One, not really a great weekend for that big noon to happen anywhere, but if you're Northwestern, you're probably wanting this to happen to maybe keep some Oregon fans from coming, saying, we don't want to go to a 9 a.m. kick out there.
Yeah.
But that's going to be, it's 11 a.m. local. I have a feeling that they're going to be kind of waking up those body clocks early. So that's the first notable one. A big noon. The Ducks' first big nooner is September 13th. The second notable time that was released today, September 22nd, or 27th, rather, when the Oregon goes to Penn State.
I mean, you look at the schedule, that's the game of the year on the schedule.
It is a 7:30 kick at Beaver Stadium. It will be the whiteout game. It's going to be the night game.
And
it will be a whiteout game.
Up.
It's going to be on NBC. It's going to be electric. September 27th at Penn State.
106,572 is the capacity at Beaver Stadium.
Not this year.
Should be fun to hear from Noah Eagle that week too.
Yeah. By the way, their capacity is they say we're going to try to keep it as close to 100,000 as possible. They tore down a side of their stadium. And they did it right after their playoff game against SMU. So they're doing renovations there. It will be, like I read something saying that they're going to try to, it will be around 100,000, but it's not, they're doing renovations to that side of the stadium where they tore down like the press box and suites on one side of the stadium and the grandstands, the upper half of the grandstands.
I mean, when it's full, it's one of the bigger stadiums in the country.
In the world. Yeah. But it will, they're still going to be very loud. It's going to be a whiteout crowd. So that'll be a fun atmosphere. The third one is Oregon's playing a Friday game. And this is something that when the Big Ten announced that they were going to start Friday games, there's like protected schools. I think Ohio State and Michigan are protected from playing on a Friday because they got power over there. Oregon had 2 of them last year. There was a thought that it'd be like, okay, you got 2 out of the way.
Yeah.
You're clear.
You're the new guy. You put up with this.
November 14th, Minnesota will be a Friday game at 6 o'clock. That is short week following a trip from Iowa. They play Iowa on Saturday, November 8th.
In Iowa?
In Iowa.
Oh.
And then they come back home, play a Friday game, and that kick time against Iowa has not been announced. Remember, Oregon played UCLA at like an 8 o'clock kick at the Rose Bowl, then got home at like 4 a.m. and had a short week prior to Michigan State this past year. Or was it, it may have been Purdue, one of their Friday games. They had a short week before one of their Friday games. It was the Purdue game because they got home so late and then had to play a short week, so everything got sped up a week. They still shut out Purdue, by the way. You're going to be playing at Iowa, coming home short week, playing Minnesota for a 6 o'clock kick on Friday on Fox against Minnesota, but that does give them an extra day prior to their game against USC.
And Iowa is one of those teams where you don't want to play them before the short week because, yeah, you'll probably win because they just don't have any offense, but you usually leave that game much like when
But you don't
play-
have them on a short week.
Oh, no, I'm saying going into a short week because
You're going to be beat up.
you're going to be beat up.
Yeah. And you got Minnesota, which is a very physical team, too.
Yeah, and I think that's, again, if you're looking for like little landmines in the schedule,
Yeah.
like things that typically pop up, it was like when you played Stanford when Harbaugh was there. It was like, yeah, you're in for a game, but you're going to leave that week going, that game sucked.
Yep.
Like, we got beat up, man. Even if you win, you're leaving with your scars. And it's the same way with Iowa. You play Iowa, you're going to come out of that game. You're probably going to win because they can't score, but you're going to come out of it going, oh, God, I'm beat up.
So those are 3 notable kick times. September 13th at Northwestern, big noon kick, 9 a.m. Pacific time kickoff. September 27th at Penn State, a 4:30 local time, 7:30 in State College, Pennsylvania for that kick. It will be the whiteout game. And then the Minnesota game, home game against Minnesota, has been moved to Friday, November 14th at 6 o'clock. Other than that, the 3 other games that were announced today for their kick times, they'll start the season 1 o'clock kick against Montana State on the Big Ten Network. September 6th, the visit from Oklahoma State will be a 12:30 kick on CBS. That's a sweet spot. I love those 12:30 and 1 o'clock kicks. Those are perfect. That's football to me. And then October 18th, when they go to Rutgers, 3:30 or 4 o'clock. Not sure which time because it'll depend on which network picks it up. But it'll either be a 3:30 Pacific or 4 o'clock Pacific kick, which means a night game in Piscataway, New Jersey.
Yeah, there might be a game on that same day that might have a little more juice.
What's that one?
USC Notre Dame.
Oh, that's on October 18th. All right.
On my birthday.
You guys might get that. You guys might get that big noon treatment there.
No. It's gonna be interesting.
I don't.
It's either that or it's the night. It'll be that or the night game.
Yeah. Is it in South Bend?
Yeah.
No, well then you're fine. That'll be an NBC game.
Yeah,
be
it's
an
true.
NBC
Yeah,
game.
that'll be an NBC game.
All right.
It'll be the night game.
All right, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine there. Good.
Good day of football. Please.
So if you're booking trips, plan accordingly.
Plan accordingly and go to a town away.
Ooh, good call on that.
Go to a town away.
Go to a town away. Get out for a little bit. You'll be okay.
The extra 20 minutes of driving will probably save you like $400 a night.
Seriously.
No, I'm dead serious.
Seriously. Yeah. Part of my life work is done.
Mm.
And I'm so proud.
Oh.
You're welcome, college football.
Mm.
Danny Dusty on the Fan.
It's
He was so hot for a year.
So hot right now.
Mugatu.
That Hansel.
That Hansel.
He's so hot right now.
So hot right now.
What was it Edwin Diaz? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Eddie Diaz.
The best part was when he came out and did it live.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mets broadcast did just an incredible job. Yeah. They did the walk-in behind Diaz with the solo cam on Timmy Trumpet. It was like I'm not even a Mets fan. I was gassed.
That's
I was like,
kick-ass.
let's go, dude.
Yeah.
I think every reliever should have a trumpeter come out.
Look,
Lead them out.
it never happened, and I'm so pissed it didn't. Even though I hate the Yankees, there was that talk about Metallica coming out for Mo Rivera's last run and playing Enter Sandman live for him to come in.
In the batter's eye, just sitting there.
That would have been electric.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Part of my life work is complete.
Short-lived.
Well, it just shows you how efficient I am.
There you go.
All right. I've said this several times on this program. One of my life missions is to get Mike Leach into the College Football Hall of Fame. The barrier to get into the College Football Hall of Fame was 60%. And Mike Leach, one of the greatest coaches in college football history, had a win percentage under that threshold. He was at 59.6% of his games that he won. Had he not passed away prior to their bowl game and they won that bowl game, he would have gotten to 60% of his games won. Mike Leach will be a college football Hall of Famer. The College Football Hall of Fame announcing that they are lowering their threshold from 60% down to 59.5%, which means Mike Leach is now eligible for the Hall of Fame.
Hey, you can't tell the story of college football without the Pirate.
That is what I've always said, and I believe it to my core. Mike Leach revolutionized the passing game. He and Hal Mumme, they at Kansas Wesleyan, when they hatched the air raid and put it into use, it changed the way that teams throw the ball as we know it. There is not a team that throws the ball in college football that does not use some of the concepts or principles that Mike Leach implemented first and stuck to it throughout his entire career.
Well, my.
The man was a wizard. And it wasn't just that he was a great play caller, but he was a fantastic head coach and a motivator of young men. Some of his ways were old school, but most of what Mike Leach did was revolutionary in the way that he handled his players, the way that he talked to them and taught them. You literally cannot tell the story of college football without Mike Leach. Period, point blank. His impact for a guy who never won a national title was greater than most national title winning coaches. Mike Leach deserves to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. They did the right thing. They're allowing him to get in, and I love that for the Leach family, and I love it for all of college football because that man deserves a wing in that College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia.
He does, and it's not just for what he did as a coach and what he did for the game, but who he was as a person. Mike Leach was, the altered state of Greg Popovich. Always. You never knew what you could get out of him, whether it was in a press conference or just walking by him. And there was something uniquely special about Mike Leach and his thoughts and whether you ask him a question about, have you ever considered, General Patton's process in World War II and why it mattered? And then he'll come tie that back to some life lesson and then how that impacts football and how it impacted a conversation that he had with one of his defensive backs. And you're just like, the hell?
Yep.
That it makes sense, but it's amazing at the same time. And it's like the path that his brain just worked on a different frequency and a different wavelength that both translated and transcended. And it was just awesome.
Mike Leach took over a Texas Tech team that was around 500 prior to him getting there for several years, turned them into a team that was in a national title conversation. He took over a Washington State football team that was one of the worst football programs in all of college football. Period, point blank. The years prior to Mike Leach, they went 2-11, 1-11, 2-10, and 4-8. Okay? He turned them into a perennial bowl team and a team on the cusp of a Pac-12 championship. He took over a Mississippi State team that went 6-7. For him to win 59.6% of his games at those three institutions, that is college football Hall of Fame worthy in and of itself.
And let's not forget the impact that he has had on quarterback play.
Changed it.
Completely and totally. And also on this list, and Mike Leach is obviously the front runner, but this will also open the door for Les Miles to be inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame. And look, you can say what you want to about Les Miles. Les Miles is a damn good coach.
Les Miles, not a great person all the time, but he was and he did it at multiple places. Like, if we remember Kansas and Kansas being a disaster. Well, I have his career record at 66%.
They had him at 59.6 because it was over.
He had 18 years. He went 145-73. That's pretty good.
They had it on at 59. Leach and him right there.
Weird, because his record at LSU,
pretty good.
114-34.
Well, would that discrepancy be due to some vacated wins?
Probably,
vacated
that's why.
wins. His vacated wins took him under that threshold. Yeah, probably. Yeah. But
he still won the game. Stop doing the whole vacated wins thing, vacated titles, shut up. It happened.
Les Miles won a national title. He played for another and lost. He was the SEC Coach of the Year, the National Coach of the Year back in 2011. Les Miles is deserving of the College Football Hall of Fame. It also brings into the mix Jackie Sherrill into the periphery of the College Football Hall of Fame too. And Jackie Sherrill is a former Texas A&M coach, and everybody knows my thoughts on Texas A&M.
The Colt.
It is a Colt. He is at 59.5 win percentage. And Jackie Sherrill was the National Coach of the Year. He was his bowl record, I believe he was 8-6 in bowl games, consistently
So
a winner.
14
went
bowl
to
games.
major bowl games. He was He was Washington State, Pitt, Texas A&M, and he took over Mississippi State as well. Do you think somebody at Mississippi State was on the committee to change this?
Yeah. Hey, look, we have two Hall of Fame coaches.
He went in 5 years at Pitt, went 59-1, and then went 52-28-1 in 7 seasons at Texas A&M. That's not bad, man.
Pretty damn good.
So there's 3 coaches that have
Part of some Pitt teams that were pretty decent.
I would say so.
Yeah, I would imagine that some pretty decent players came through then.
Yeah. Let's see here. Do you want to see?
What years was he at Pitt?
He was at Pitt from 1977 to 1981.
Yeah.
77 to 81. So he had some pretty good players.
Absolute
in that time.
dudes.
NFL. Here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jackie Sherrill, Pitt players, NFL. Oh, Tony Dorsett.
Yeah, I would say Dorsett's one of them.
Yeah, and his staff included Jimmy Johnson and Dave Wannstedt. Dan Marino was his quarterback at Pitt.
For a year.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering if he...
No. He was his last quarterback, 79 to 82.
I thought you said he was there till 81.
Yeah. Well, he 3 of the years, 79, 80, and 81.
Oh, okay.
He was his quarterback.
Yeah, I guess Marino's
And
class
then
of 83.
Class
so,
of 83. So
Okay, yeah.
Marino went 1 year without him.
Okay.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
Jackie Sherrill, Mike Leach, and Les Miles, all eligible for the College Football Hall of Fame now. But with Mike Leach eligible, check that box. Part of my life work is done.
Put it on the board.
Yes, we got it. And I'm happy for Mike Leach. I'm happy for Coug fans, Texas Tech fans, Mississippi State fans too, because Y'all deserve to have Mike Leach in that College Football Hall of Fame.
Even if they did throw tortillas at you.
Well, you got to be able to have tortillas thrown at you, you know. I wonder if he maybe started that.
Wouldn't surprise me.
That would not surprise me one bit. You know?
Weaponize everything.
Yeah, if you're going to throw the ball, you better throw those tortillas too. Those things hurt.
Yeah.
When they water them up and water them down and throw them at
They
you.
water them up to you.
Water them up to you. Yeah. Golly, those Texas Tech fans.
You want to go back?
I do. I actually do.
Lubbock's fun. Look,
No, it's not fun.
It's a fun town.
No,
it's
not. It really isn't.
I had a good time there.
It's not a fun town, but they love their game day.
Yeah.
And the student section behind the visiting bench, aggressive.
Mildly.
Aggressive. Need more of it.
Love it. All right, coming up next time for our Worst Day on the Web. And, there's only one way really to go about this. What is lost can now be found in two very different scenarios. Here's that. But first, here's the Big Kahuna with the Sports Center update.
That's that Hawaiian burger joint.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Laurelhurst Market, Steakhouse, and Butcher Shop. A great spot for any occasion. And don't forget, you save 10% on your Butcher Shop order when you dine in. Menus and more at laurelhurstmarket.com. First on the Fan, Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks looking to push the Pacers to a Game 6. 5 o'clock tip on TNT and Max. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 4:30. The Knicks are 4.5-point favorites. On the diamond, the Mariners and Nationals in a rubber match this evening at the Pink. 6:40 first pitch on FS1. Emerson Hancock starting for Seattle. Mackenzie Gore for Washington. Mariners lead over the Astros in the AL West is down to just one game. Game 5 of the Western Conference Final tonight in Dallas as the Stars try to force a Game 6 against the Oilers. Puck drops at 5 o'clock on ESPN. The Stars currently at -130 on the money line. And the first round of the Memorial Tournament at Muirfield in Dublin, Ohio. Ben Griffin birdied 4 of his last 5 holes. That led him to a 7-under 65. He is 2 strokes clear of Colin Morikawa at 5 under. Max Homa all alone in 3rd place at 4 under par, and Shane Lowry all alone at 4th place at 3 under par. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Russ from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
It's back. The 11th annual Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms Golf Club happens Tuesday, June 24th. Presented by your local Toyota dealers. Reserve your foursome now at 1080thefan.com. It's time for today's worst day on the web. With Danny and Dusty on Odyssey and 1080 The Fan.
Man, that sucks.
Today's worst day on the web is a twofer, and it's a what's lost is now found. What you want to go with the big one, or you want to go with the human-sized one first?
Human-sized?
There you go. 3 guys were.
I don't feel like there was a good answer there,
Yeah,
and I feel like this was a trap.
I mean, the 3 people were hiking in the Adirondacks up in New York, tripping absolute balls.
All right, that makes sense.
And one of their fellow trippers went missing, and the other guys were tripping so hard they were called and reported him dead.
Oh, and he was just missing?
Yeah, so the dead person ended up calling 911 later because they were all tripping balls and lost in the Adirondacks.
Was this like mushrooms that they were
Uh-huh.
on? Yeah, okay. You see, this was, there were some guys that I went to college with who will not be named here.
Mm.
And they would always know that I was the person to call. I had
When they got lost?
They would get lost in the woods.
Mhm.
They would get lost in the woods,
Mhm.
and they would call me, and I would be like, "Okay, where are you?" Non-distinguishable. They'd always tell me where they were going beforehand,
Sure.
and give me the
general
heads
region.
up. Yeah. And I feel like you have to have somebody that you can count on that will be sober to do those things for you.
Look, people are going to do it. If you're going to do it, make sure you have some sort of communication device.
They were not smart.
Well, I mean, especially I'm talking now.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to do that kind of thing now,
Oh gosh,
go spend the money
it's just
and go get like a GPS system.
so many.
I'm being dead serious because like
I feel like 90% of the people that are playing that game, they're not going to do that.
see, but here's the thing. I know a lot of people who have a fair amount of resources, let's say, that would go and do those things,
Mm-hmm.
and they still don't do it. And I've talked to them. I'm like, look, man, your Apple AirTag is not going to be enough to save your ass out there. Like,
It definitely is not.
go spend the $300-$400
It's not.
and go get a freaking GPS that works on satellite
Mhm.
deep in the woods,
In the scraggly woods.
so that when you go trip balls and all of a sudden you think you're on another planet, somebody can come find you so you don't die out there.
Yeah, man.
I had a friend who did
Those
do
guys.
that, and he was doing the what is the name of that hike? It's you know I'm talking about, the guys that do like the cross, damn near cross country hike. There's the Pacific Trail.
Well, there's the Pacific Crest Trail,
Yeah,
and
what's-
then there's
what's
the
the one-
Appalachian Trail.
What's the one in Colorado that goes through the Rockies? Like it's a super serious one. I can't remember. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
There's another trail that's like that. He's done a bunch of those.
Okay.
But he did that one, and he took some things that could help him understand nature a little bit better.
Yeah, that's not
But
smart.
he was also fully prepared and had all the proper equipment, and he was taking pictures along the route. And this has actually happened to 2 different people that I know. I told Nemec about one of them off air yesterday. In the background of the pictures, you know what was behind him?
A cougar?
Yeah.
That
He-
sounds about right.
He didn't know it until he started going through them,
That's terrifying.
and it was tracking him for miles.
That's terrifying.
And I'm like, dog, you were by yourself
Yeah,
and
you're-
tripping balls. You
These-
would have had a 0%
See,
chance. You were going to be a murder kitten smack.
That's why I just that's the terrifying thing about any of that stuff.
You never know they're there. They're 50 yards away.
Well,
and you
no,
have
I'm
no
talking
idea.
about the
Oh,
drugs.
yeah.
the cougars are a different thing.
Well, the cougars, while you're on
that-
drugs, now you're just seeing, you just want to
You're
boop
just
the snoot.
dumbing yourself
Yeah.
down when you go somewhere
Oh,
very
kitty.
dangerous.
Yeah, and it's like-
no, not
No.
none of it is good. I don't.
No, not.
Continental Divide is what you're looking at.
Thank
Danny.
you. Yes.
Continental Divide.
That's it. Apparently,
Fan text line for the win.
apparently it's just a beast of a trail, too.
I can imagine it is.
Yeah. It's,
I can imagine.
I've seen like the pack outs that they do for that stuff and how it's optimized down to the gram.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, you
Like,
don't want to mess around.
You don't want to because it's so far and you go through so much altitude and like you don't want to leave waste behind and like how efficiently you have to. It's a crazy ordeal. He's done pretty much, I think, all the ones across the U.S., the Appalachian, the Pacific Crest, the Continental Divide, and I think he's going to do one in Africa now. I'm just like, dude, go do your thing.
That seems scary too.
Yeah, but this is his thing. So he trains for it and does it. But it's the pictures are incredible. I'll say that. We do have.
I think almost getting killed by a cougar would definitely rule me out of almost getting killed by a lion.
Yeah. You want
That would not be.
You want to work your way up the murder kitten index.
Nope.
Hard pass.
Nope.
Story number 2, though.
Okay.
Did you see the guy in Norway who found a ship in his backyard?
Seem to have missed this one.
So I'll rotate this over so
He
you
found
can
a
see it.
ship. Oh, that's a full-on ship.
Yeah, ship.
Whoa.
Full-on ship.
Holy guacamole.
It is a container ship that missed the house by 10 feet.
How does now he is on waterfront property there, obviously. This wasn't like it drove up, but it just parked right there in his backyard.
Yeah, this is like in a fjord, if you were.
A what?
A fjord.
No clue.
An inlet of Norway.
Okay.
And this is not like a tugboat. This is not like a small cargo container. This is like a 500-foot cargo container. Ship.
Yeah.
This is a massive ship.
Those things are terrifying when they go awry. What do we know about the captain of said ship? Because I know
this is the
that
second time that this particular ship has run aground. So that's why I was like, huh.
country of origin.
It is
Russian.
No, Cypriot. So Cyprus, which is not uncommon to have Cypriot flagged ships for a multitude of reasons.
And so they're just this same one has run aground twice before
with the same cap. Well, this is the second time.
Seems like a little party situation is happening
I'm
on this
thinking
boat.
somebody else might be taking some mushrooms.
I am the captain now.
Because like when you see the photos, like there's a aerial photo from what I can only assume is a drone. It seems like it would be physically impossible to run said ship aground where they're at because it is wide open.
Yeah. I'm looking at this, and it's not like we have any narrow crossings here.
No.
This is wide open spaces. The Dixie Chicks would love where they're trying to drive these boats, and that is not it.
When you run aground, it's because you're getting in a narrow space and you're kind of angled wrong. He is like beached in the sense of like he T-boned the front of the property.
Hot dang.
You're just sitting there. Thankfully, the guy's house wasn't destroyed. He was home when it happened. He was like, yeah, I just kind of got woken up and I went outside and I couldn't really figure out what was going on. And then I turned the corner and I saw that.
Yeah, that would be one heck of a thing to wake up to. Now, this reminds me of, remember the Italian cruise ship that tipped over because it ran aground? Wasn't that captain, didn't he abandon ship on that? And I believe he was trying to impress a lady and brought her up to the stern.
There you go.
That does not seem... I feel like we may have this kind of energy here where he was like, yeah, I'm going to impress somebody. Uh-oh, this is bad.
Got himself one of those Nordic princesses.
Turns out that training kind of matters.
It's like, what was it? What's the numbers? 83 or 87% of those polled in the U.S. thought they could land an aircraft.
Yeah.
And not just like a Piper Cub or a Cessna, but like we're talking like a commercial like 747.
Yeah, I know some
you can't.
Commercial airline pilots that I asked them, I was like emergency situation. They're like, no, you couldn't.
No.
It is actually very, very difficult to bring the plane in at the proper angle. Yeah, that would not be. I was like, what if I had somebody on the other end talking me through it? Like pilots are passed out, still got comms. You're like, there might be if they can get it into like autopilot and the airport has the capabilities to like auto land planes, but most likely no.
Because you're going to take too steep of an angle and you're probably going to crash.
Yeah. Yeah. Which apparently some airports and planes are equipped to do that. Like they have, I don't know what the capabilities are, but they have a technology that can kind of guide you in a little bit easier.
Keep you on the rails.
Yeah. I if anybody's like, "Hey, can somebody land this plane?" I'd be the first to be like, "Nah." And I'll tell you what, if I was on one of those planes, the first person to pop up and say I could do it, I'd be like, "Not him."
Unless they're an actual pilot.
Yeah, I would say not. First, I'd say not him. Are you a pilot? No, definitely not
Definitely not.
him.
You
Because
have too much confidence.
100%. Like the person who thinks I got this, nope. No way, Jose.
The only
Don't want that.
only addendum I would put to that is how many hours do you have on Microsoft Flight Simulator? Because if somebody's like, I've got 10,000 hours on Microsoft Flight Simulator, I'm going to go. Anybody else a pilot?
Yeah.
No?
We got it. All right.
All right.
How much you been drinking?
Yeah. It's crazy. Have you ever seen that? There's like a community of people who like, they build themselves like full on state of the art flight simulators and they've never flown a plane, but they fly them virtually. And it's actually kind of crazy because, I mean, it's a full on control system.
Yeah.
And you're like, why don't you go become a pilot, dog? Like,
well, because it's actually pretty smart because chances are you're not going to actually die doing that.
Sure.
You know?
I mean, the commercial airline pilots aren't dying.
Yeah, but small aircraft is usually what
All
those guys
the
are
time.
playing. That's super dangerous, man. That's very dangerous.
In a terrifying but not surprising fashion, they had to put a airspace bubble around the World Trade Center on that video game.
Oh, come on.
I mean,
that's gross.
it is, but
yeah,
dummies
it's
are
people.
dummies are gonna dummy.
I don't like that.
No, it's
I
not.
don't like that
It's not
one
great.
bit. Yep.
But yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh man. That's a worse version of the guy playing Call of Duty who shoots down the helicopter and yelled Kobe.
What?
Oh yeah, there was a Call of Duty clip about 2 months ago. A guy playing multiplayer shot an RPG at a helicopter. It was a deep shot.
Well, actually, that's what a lot of people do on like a deep shot.
Yeah, he's like Kobe because you're just letting it go,
No,
and then he hits it, and the helicopter crashes. He goes, "Not like that."
My
The realization was a second too
Uh-oh.
late. It was like, oh no.
it was a good couple years of my son's life that when anybody would die, he would be like a helicopter crash because Kobe Bryant just stuck in his mind like anybody. His great grandma died, my wife's grandmother, and he was like, he was telling people she died in a helicopter crash like Kobe. She didn't. She was old. But he was just like
associated death with
he was like,
helicopter crash.
yeah, helicopter crash. That was it. And we were like, buddy, no. The good news is Grandma would have absolutely loved to be compared to Kobe Bryant.
That's the way she wanted to go out.
She would have been like, dude, I love him for that.
Yeah.
But
Put one up for him.
just kids being kids, man.
Well, speaking of kids being kids, have you seen the latest news from the recruiting world about guaranteed commitments?
I have.
Yeah.
This text, my 200 plus hours on Microsoft Flight Sim would definitely qualify me. You can smoke weed and fly airplanes on the sim. Can't smoke and fly in real life.
There you go. Cut down that reaction time. That's where you take the edible. That's what happens.
Why do you have a flight simulator? So I can get high?
And fly a plane.
What?
I mean, it's a lot like tripping balls in the woods. You know?
I'm much safer on a flight
Oh, yeah,
simulator
for sure.
in your home.
Yeah, for sure.
In your home.
Just thought, man, that looks cool up here.
Man.
A lot cooler if you did. You know.
Uh,
All right, we're going to get back to the world of college football and just how crazy the recruiting world is getting to. We alluded to it a little bit yesterday with Andrew Nemec. We got a little bit more news on that. We'll get to that next here on Danny and Dusty, 10 the Fan. Yesterday, Andrew Demick, we were talking about the world of recruiting and how things are changing just incredibly rapidly. The top-end recruits and how some programs around the country, even if a guy commits to the program, they're like, hey, can you do us a favor and can you keep that pocketed for a little bit? We want to make sure we maximize momentum and do everything that we need to do.
Silent commits.
Just kind of do that so that, look, we're not trying to snuff you out or kind of, not let you have your moment, but we want to kind of maximize your moment. Well, what you do is to take that a step further, and this is from On3, the world of recruiting is now recruits are asking to get money up front for the commitments. This from On3, from Pete Nakos. I've heard of guys getting $25,000 a month to guarantee their commitment to a program.
And that's
pretty crazy, man. Before you even step on campus.
That can't be legal. But, I mean, this is also the way of, all right, there's always going to be a workaround. There's always going to be ways that people try to leverage it and do leverage the situations. And the back alley deals are going to start coming back more and more as the salary cap comes in and as Deloitte is going third party with trying to tell you how much you can make in an NIL deal that's outside of your payment from the university. The bag man is going to be back. And it should be no surprise to anybody when that happens that they are present again in the world of college football. That also, I don't think that is going to be happening at the elite recruiting programs. It's more of, hey, oh, by the way, you want me to not go to XYZ and visit? Like, this is like, hey, if you commit, you can't take any visits. We've talked about these programs a lot, right? There's a bunch of them that say, hey, if you commit here, you're not going to be able to take a visit. Then the answer is, well, if you want me to be committed and stay committed,
it's going to cost you.
It's going to cost you. I don't like that way of business. I don't think, like, anytime you see a decommitment, fan bases freak out. Now, you guys talked about the swimming pool one, which, boy, is that a turnabout 17 days later. The people that freak out about that, dude, if the guy's not committed, he doesn't want to be there then.
It's fine. Like,
it should be fine.
You don't want the guy that doesn't want to be there. And I'm not saying that, like, look, I'm not the Oregon guy.
You want willing participants. You don't want hostages.
No.
It sucks, and you're like, oh, well, why doesn't he want to be here anymore? Well, probably because he's getting money somewhere else. And you know what? That's okay. That's the world we're in, and I know that there's a lot of people who don't like that. But
it's the reality.
It is the reality. It's where we are, especially with zero guardrails. I have long said that we need some guardrails to this. Like, the NCAA can't do it. Somebody else needs to step in and do it. Whether it is, the new
Deloitte Clearinghouse.
Well, no, the new committee of I forgot what it's college sports committee or whatever it is.
Competition committee. Yeah,
they need to step in and have defined rules. I definitely don't want Congress to step in, but if they have to, sure, that would be okay. But the reality of it is, this is the world we are in right now because the NCAA turned a blind eye for decades and ended up getting crushed in court over and over and over again. And that led us to the point where we're at right now. I don't like it, but it's the world we live in, and you're either going to adapt or you're going to get left behind. And that's the reality.
And there's more to this. Ross Dellinger had a larger article out yesterday that pertained to a lot of college coaches wringing their hands about this, like, oh, we don't do like kind of a deal. It's like, okay, shut up. We all know you do. Stop. That's the thing I'm getting really sick of. Is every one of these freaking coaches like, well, we're not doing. It's like, shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up. You're all doing it. You're all doing this. Just stop. Stop trying to freaking railroad people and high horse everything that comes through this as you're the high and mighty and your hands are clean. The ones at the top, you're the dirtiest. Stop it. I'm so sick and tired of it. Like in this article, Kirby Smart's out here talking about, well, some schools are out there, third-party NIL groups are, giving money under the table, and we don't even know that's going to be permissible under the new collective bargaining agreement adjacent agreement that might come out of the landmark court case. Like,
well, actually, he has a point there because his program has enough money to give it all over the table.
Yeah, but
I mean, like that's the thing is that he's right in that there are schools. He doesn't have to live in that world because he has plenty of money.
Yeah, but they were doing it with the boosters on the side before. We all know that. And that's what he's saying. And it's like, oh, it's not us. But here's an interesting part that the Dellinger had that I didn't see in the On3 report. So those kids that go get $25,000 to stay committed to a school month by month, if they do decommit and go somewhere else, they owe that money back.
Yeah, you got to pay that back, man. Good luck having that permissible in court.
So you're giving a kid $25,000. You're giving a 17, 18-year-old kid $25,000 a month for 4 or 5 months.
See, that may be,
and then he decommits and goes somewhere else.
But that may be like hey, we see this in contract all the time where you get advances, right? I mean.
Yeah.
Is that how you're writing these contracts out?
I'm sure
the
boosters are writing it that way.
You have a $500,000 deal, and we're going to give you a $200,000 advance because we're going to pay you $25,000 a month for every month that you're committed for however long.
Whatever prorated.
Yeah, that might make it legal.
But I
don't know.
Even beyond that, if they do decommit,
see, this is the thing. Nobody knows the rules.
Yeah. But also, what kid isn't going to spend that money? What kid isn't going to show up at high school the next day with a chain?
Well,
with a Hellcat?
Here's the thing, is that I think all of the coaches who have those players decommit, they get those chains back, and the coaches wear them to every press conference. Lane Kiffin would be the guy to do this, by the way.
Oh, God, that would be so great.
Looking like Mr. T by the end of it. Had a lot of decommits this
There's
year.
a lot of guys that want to go by Juice, but Lane could pull it off because he's got his dog, Juice. Nah, the chain's for my dog. It's Juice Kiffin right here. He's got a $20,000 diamond chain.
I, for one, would have been a very responsible 18-year-old.
Oh, God. Dude, I got a very sizable signing bonus when I was in the Air Force. I pissed every single penny away.
I think, and I thank my parents for this, they would have forced me to be responsible with it. They would have forced me to. And even if I pulled the I'm an adult, they would have been like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You may be an adult, but you're dumb.
Yeah.
They would have made me
I
put
bought a nice car. I bought a lot of clothes.
Yeah. No.
Definitely should have put it into a house.
Probably.
Definitely should have put it into a house.
Would have been a good investment.
Yeah. I don't know about you. The housing market was a good time to buy in that time period.
Yep.
So, all right, coming up next, I just came from the Trailblazers practice facility.
Ooh.
The first real crop of workouts that involved first round prospects. I got to talk to 3 of them. What came out of that, and what can we expect in the next couple of weeks here as we are less than a month away from the NBA draft? We'll get to that next here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Jeff Rust with your Sports Center update. First on The Fan. Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks looking to push the Pacers to a Game 6. 5 o'clock tip on TNT and Max. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 4:30. The Knicks are 4.5-point favorites. On the diamond, the Mariners and Nationals in a rubber match this evening at T-Mobile Park. 6:40 first pitch on FS1. Emerson Hancock starting for Seattle. Mackenzie Gore for Washington. The Mariners lead over the Astros in the AL West, now down to just a single game. Game 5 of the Western Conference Final in Dallas on the ice as the Stars try to force a Game 6 against the Oilers. Puck drops at 5 o'clock on ESPN. Stars minus 130 on the money line. And round 1 of the Memorial Tournament at Muirfield in Dublin, Ohio. Wrapping up for the day just about. Ben Griffin, a 7 under 65. He is your leader. 2 strokes clear of Colin Morikawa at 5 under par. All alone in third place, you got Max Homa at 4 under, and Shane Lowry is in fourth place, at 3 under par. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
More, please. Golf in the Northwest with Jason Swigard is back. Saturdays at 8 a.m. before the Sinner and the Saint on Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. Danny Meringue.
I found 2 empty bottles of a particularly decent Chateau Noir Bordeaux 57 in your rubbish.
Dusty Hera.
You went through my garbage?
This is Danny and Dusty on the Odyssey app.
I find it particularly offensive that you use them to wash down an order from something called Macho Taco.
And Portland's sports leader, 1080
I would never drink a Bordeaux with a Macho Taco.
The Fan.
It was a burrito machisimo.
Hour number 3 here on Danny and Dusty on a Thursday afternoon. When listening on 1080 AM, watching along on youtube.com/1080am the fan or twitch.tv/1080am the fan. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for hanging out with us. A wonderful, wonderful Thursday.
Thanks.
And before today's show, I was at the Trailblazers practice facility for pre-draft workouts, and we had our first crew of guys coming through that had real first-round grades on them. Now, most of these guys, if they do have a lottery grade on them, they are right on the fringe of that. Most of these guys, I would say, are probably pick 15 through 25 is probably what you're looking at.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. This is far and away
the best
group that has come through in actual first round worthy guys. But it did seem like this group was
the next group back.
Yeah, not 11.
So here's what's going to be really interesting from this draft. After the top 5 picks 6 through 14 is going to be. I use the term grab bag, and I'm not using that as a pejorative. It is a eye of the beholder situation. What do you want? And that is kind of where that world is. Do you want a big guard like Kasparas Giakashionis or Yegor Demin? Do you want a project-type player to work with, like and try to build out over a long tail like a Carter Bryant? Is that somebody that you're kind of looking at? Like, there's so many different guys in this range that you could see maybe a team preferring a more finished product, like a Rasheer Fleming, who has multiple years of experience and has showed a growth trajectory.
St. Joe's.
He came in, and he's part of the group today. Let me go get to the guys that came in today. You had Asa Newell out of Georgia. You had Rasheer Fleming out of St. Joe's. You had Hansen Yang, who is from the Chinese Basketball Association, the Qingdao Eagles. I can never remember what their mascot is. Jace Richardson, the son of former NBA player Jason Richardson, the guard from Michigan State.
If they go 6-foot guard at number 11,
no, I know likey. Liam McNeely, Donovan Clingan's teammate at UConn, or excuse me, not teammate. Followed Donovan Clingan, but from UConn. And then Will Riley, the big guard / wing at Illinois.
That's how they were built at Illinois. Big guards, baby.
It was a big, long team. Mm-hmm. I mean, so for those that are wondering, Asa Newell
and could not miss when they went to Eugene.
Oh God, Asa Newell, 6'10", kind of a tweener in the sense of like, is he really a 5? Is he more of a small ball 5 / more interior 4? The questions with here's my quick synopsis on Asa. I love his mentality. I love his IQ, his charisma. The way he moves, he's incredibly fluid. The shooting was suspect, and that will be a big determining factor for him. I think he shot 26% from three at Georgia this year. He also, while 6'10", I believe he measured at a 6'11" wingspan, which is very reminiscent of like a Mason Plumlee who had shorter arms. Typically, when you're bigger, you want to see at least a +4. So you kind of like, for perspective's sake, somebody said on the text line that Asa Newell is like he was the Pokemon evolution of Ryan Repair. Well, the problem with that is Roops is 6'8", 2 inches shorter.
Roops has got long.
He's got a
arms.
7'3" wingspan.
Yeah,
he is freakishly long with his wingspan, and so that's kind of the knock on Asa. But one of the first things I noticed, because he was here for Hoop Summit a little more than a year ago, he has put on real weight. He has put on around 20 pounds. That's when we got done doing the media availability. I talked to him for a split second. I was like, hey, man, you look a lot bigger than you were here a year ago. And he just kind of smiled. He's like, yeah, that's the feedback that I've gotten. And a lot of teams that I've already talked to at the Combine think I can put on a lot more and still be fluid. And that's a real, like, he's 225-ish right now. If he can get up to 235, 240, and maintain fluid athleticism at 6'10",
not too shabby,
and turn into a 35% 3-point shooter. Again, you're asking for some asks here. There's no doubt about it.
Pretty big asks.
But again, you're talking about a guy who only spent 1 year in college, one and done.
Yep.
He played at a very high profile team. He actually played with Liam McNeely in high school as his high school teammate. So he said it was very cool to work out with him as part of this process. But I don't know if I'd take him at 11. The intangible stuff about him, I love. Great cutter, very fluid, very active. The guy that just blew my doors off, though, was Rasheer Fleming. Rasheer Fleming came in with a nearly, I should say, 8 3/4 or 8 and I think it was 8 5/8 wingspan, +8. This guy's arms, he's 6'9". His arms, his middle finger when standing there was resting on his kneecap. I mean, it was like, oh my God, this guy is long.
That is crazy.
And played at St. Joe's, really knocked down the three at a high clip. I think it shot 42.5% from three. I don't look at him as a guy that you're like, man, I wonder if he can add some on the dribble juice. He's a guy that I look at and go, he is a proven commodity in that he can be a 3-and-D player. And if he does add a little off the dribble wiggle, the ability to attack closeouts, the ability to be a second side attacker, great.
Yeah.
But if you're drafting a guy 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, somewhere in that range, having a guy you can plug in and trust, that's valuable.
Yeah, it is.
But I asked him, like, the one question that I made sure that I asked all the guys today, who are the guys that you watch tape on? Because it kind of gives an indicator of like who they see themselves projecting as in the pros.
Yep.
And I loved Rasheer's answer. Jaden McDaniels and OG Anunoby, because he's kind of a hybrid build of those two guys. Not barrel-chested like OG, but not thin-framed like Jaden. He's a bigger up top, but has Jaden's insane wingspan. Because the thing about Jaden McDaniels is he's 6'10" with crazy long arms. OG has long arms, but he's a truck up top, and he's very difficult to deal with. And hearing him understand kind of the lane he's going to be in was those are the kind of things that I take from guys. Like, they're saying the right things.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the concern there is he became, like, from year one at St. Joe's to year 3, an incredible 3-point shooter.
You saw the progression each year.
Every year he got significantly better in that, but is there going to be more consistency with that when he gets to the NBA?
Typically,
because
when you see
he was never a dead-eye, lights-out shooter. He used to work for it.
Yeah, but do you see the work paying off?
Yeah.
That's the thing. And I had some people asking, what I think.
He didn't shoot a lot either.
He shot enough in college. Yeah. But the thing that he kind of reminds me of, his frame, it's not as big as him, but the idea of him, a prospect coming out that I loved that I just ended up having wrong was Noah Vonleh. Noah Vonleh was built in a lab to play the power forward in that era. Mm-hmm. And I was like, 6'10", big shoulders, big long arms, huge butt, just tree trunk legs. I look at Rasheer, not quite as big up top, crazy range with his wingspan and his mobility, big, strong base, big legs. And I go, you know what? In the modern NBA and what you guys, this archetype is asked to do, you have the physical tools to be an impact guy on both ends of the floor.
Interesting. I mean, he would be a bit of a reach at 11.
Yes. And again, none of these guys are guys that I would be like, yes, you have to take them 11. It depends on how the board falls and who goes where and what kind of happens. If you're picking 15, 16, yeah, you've got my interest. Another guy who hasn't come through here yet. I imagine Will is Nick Clifford from Colorado State, one of my favorite players in this draft, who's not a dyed in the wool. Oh yeah, he's going to be a star. I think I look at him and I see supersized Josh Hart, which if you can get
Supersized Josh Hart is very intriguing.
A better shooting 6'6" Josh Hart is a very good player in the NBA.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is because he's with teammates with Jabari Walker. I was talking to Jabari about Neek a couple times throughout the season, and I was like, when I watch him, I go, I see Josh Hart, and Jabari just flashes this huge smile. He goes, I'm going to tell him that. He goes, you know who he watches the most tape of? I'm like, Josh? He goes, yeah, that's the guy he watches because he's a great rebounding guard, and so is Neek. Neek averaged just short of 10 rebounds a game in college as a guard. You want to see that. Speaking of guards, one of the guards that they brought in is your undersized guard.
Jace
Richardson, who barefoot is 6 foot tall. Okay. Today, I didn't have to look up to talk to him. And I'm sitting there going, his frame's tiny. Boy, he's going to have a tough time. And I loved his answer when I asked him, look, the thing that is going to come up over and over again is your size. Who are the guys you were watching in the league that are smaller that you were taking from to be successful in the league? His answer could not have been more perfect for me. Mike Conley.
Yeah.
Mike Conley is 6'1" and it's like, I don't know if people truly remember how fast, quick, twitchy Mike Conley was coming out of Ohio State. He was a blur. And Jace Richardson is an elite athlete. He does not have the hops of his dad, where I think Jason had a 44 or 45 inch vertical.
He was lights out. Just like he would jump out of the gym.
He's got one of the best in-game verticals in modern basketball history. Jace doesn't have that, but he's got bunnies. Like he can get up. And it was interesting. He goes, during the drills today, the coaches were all asking us to switch on everything. Okay, so the guys I mentioned, 6'10", Asa Newell, 6'9", Rasheer Fleming.
Having to switch with the 6-footer?
Well, it got worse. The team he was up against had 7'2.5" Hanson Yang. And he got caught in a couple switches on that and had to do, he's like, I wanted to show that I could do it.
Yeah.
He goes, and he was asked about, how the scrimmages went because they played some 3-on-3s. He goes, there was a lot of trash talking. It was a lot of fun. He goes, it was tough to score around the 7'3" guy.
I would imagine so.
Because you just don't see that in college.
Yeah.
That's just not something you're accustomed with. The other guy that was there was Will Riley, the 6'8.5", 6'9" guard wing, who's gotten some LaMelo Ball comps because of kind of how he moves, kind of slinky, just kind of slides around. He's a guy that was a highly, highly, highly touted recruit. He, to me, is a guy, as you're looking at as a project, if he hits, not like a project in the sense of like a repair where he's really raw, but I think it's going to be a couple years in the sense of like, by the time he comes around a second contract, you're going to know whether he's got it or not. But if he does hit, it could be very interesting because, again, you're talking about that size. Having ball skills at 6'8", 6'9" is a big deal.
Yeah, but will you know if he's in Portland? Because there's a lot of guys like that.
And so,
that's the problem, and that's where you go. You look at the roster, you look where the log jams are going to be, and that's going to be the most difficult part for the Blazers is that you've got a lot of projects as it is.
And here's an interesting thing for Portland, because agents are trying to get their guys in positions where they will have opportunities on the floor. There is not a position on the Blazers roster that does not have young depth. Point guard, you've got Scoot.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting guard, you've got Shaden. Small forward, you've got Tumani. At the 4, you've got Chris and Tumani and Roops in the 2-3-4 range. Denny is 24 at the 4. Donovan Clingan is 21 at the 5. So they are young everywhere. And one of the obstacles the Blazers are going to have, and again, talking about getting guys to come in at pick number 11, they already have to overcome that hurdle. The second part of this is they have to kind of work with agents to get guys in the building that maybe their agents are trying to steer away from Portland because they have so much young depth, because they won't have the clear path to playing time. That is an agent's job. It's not just to get guys to a position that gets them the highest draft slotting. It's getting them to a team.
Well, that's what you saw today, is a lot of guys who were not even in consideration for 11, but
they want to come here for that because that's a higher spot for them.
Yep. And that helps them.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be really interesting. Expect much more workouts like this coming forward, where they're going to get better and better. And then it's going to be interesting to see how many of these end up being the private/closed workouts.
Yeah.
You know, I'll find out about them and who kind of came through. It was funny last year. I was there for one workout and DC walked by, and I looked at one of the guys of the Blazers, and he just looked at me and just shook his head. I'm like, yeah, the 7'3" guy is kind of hard to hide.
Yeah, you can't hide him. Can't hide him.
So there'll be a couple of those, I'm sure, because that's how agents like to kind of control things. But we're less than a month away, and I'll have the database, and I'll start sharing out, my notes and thoughts on some of this stuff. But it was nice to kind of be in the swing of things as we're, like I said, less than a month away. We are June 25th, so we're the 29th today. We are a little bit under 4 weeks away.
Well, we hope they can start working out guys that are in that 11 range.
Expect to see that in the next probably 10 days. So, all right, coming up next, let's pivot back to the NBA. The losers of last night's game, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Where do they go from here, and are there any easy answers? We'll get that next here on Danny Dusty, 1080 The Fan.
It's
Well, the NBA draft is coming up on June 25th. But even better, the day before, we have the Fan Golf Classic at Langdon Farms.
Woo! Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday, June 24th. Or is is that a Wednesday?
Yeah, it's Tuesday,
Tuesday,
June 24th.
There you go. Tuesday,
what are you
June
talking
24th.
about?
There you go.
You're just over here throwing wrenches into what I'm saying, asking me if it's on Tuesday or
You're,
not.
you're asking me about days of the week, brother.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited for it. We only have slots in the morning round, though. The afternoon round completely sold out.
Completely gone. Brought to you by Henderson Daughter Windows and Doors and Fullbook Law Accident and Injury Lawyers. The great thing about that morning round being available means you get the Victor Rico's breakfast burritos.
That's what I'm talking about. Before your round, it is the best way to start your round.
It is, hands down. Matt's Barbecue will have all your catering for both rounds.
Yes.
In the Red Shed, and we'll have some more news notes and surprises as we will have adornments, as it were, at damn near every hole.
Mm-hmm. Activities abound. There's a lot of buzz about what's going to be going on at the Fan Golf Classic. We're finalizing a lot of the details right now, and announcements forthcoming, possibly as soon as tomorrow.
We'll be at the 6th hole, the clown hole, taking our celebrity shots for you and having a good old time. And we did. We
use that. You're using that term very liberally.
There you go.
The celebrity
indeed.
shot.
We had the hole in one last year, right?
At that hole, yeah. And it was electric.
It was great because we were all there to see it.
Yeah, we had. I think Dirk got it on video.
Mm-hmm. Somebody did.
We got it on video.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
So it's a grand old time. Come out, hang out.
2 hole-in-ones on the same round yesterday.
It was,
or last
the
year.
other one was on the back, right?
Yeah, I think it was on.
Was it 11?
No, maybe 14.
Okay.
The long one.
Oh.
Yeah. Not like the real long one. That was 17. But the longer, it was like 165, 170. Still. It was a good one. It was a great one.
I saw a TikTok the other day. A guy won a club championship. He needed a hole-in-one to win and got it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Par 3 on 18, drained it.
What club is a par 3 18?
Yeah.
What in the world is going on here? All right. Well, hey, good on him. He got a hole-in-one.
Looked like a nice course, and he gave a little tiger fist pump and then sheathed the sword.
That's what I'm talking about.
A nice little strut walking up the hole. And he goes, "That's how we do it." I was like,
That's not my reaction. That would not be my reaction.
I would be sprinting to that hole.
You would be injured for a good month after whatever
if I did that.
celebration
If I did that, just taking those like 25,000 shots at the 6th, like we do, that little hill right there, it would be like the cheese roll.
Just going down.
Have you seen that video? That guy again, referencing a guy on mushrooms. Did you see the guy on mushrooms during the cheese roll?
No. What he's talking about, by the way, is that there's an event across the pond somewhere.
It's in Germany, I think.
Where they roll a wheel of cheese down a hill and people chase it down the hill.
Steepest hill with like the thickest bush.
It's England or Ireland, I thought.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right. I think it is on the island. But this guy, 3/4 of the way down, he does the stub toe full launch, and he just goes limp in midair, eats it just in the most gnarly fashion. And when he flips over, you see his arm is going the wrong way. And either his arm is completely dislocated or it is a compound fracture or I guess not a compound fracture, but a full fracture of a bone because it goes full rubber going the wrong way. And you're like, that dude's dead. If he's not, he wishes he was.
Well,
and how do you know he was on drugs?
He said he was on mushrooms.
When
he was rolling twice.
When he took flight like that, and he flew.
Oh, he covers like 15 feet of ground
at least.
Horizontally.
Yeah. And then when he finally hit, I don't know, it must have been an article of clothing or something, but
something kicks off.
It looked like his head exploded.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it is gnarly. And I've watched a bunch of videos from that over the years. That is easily one of the 3 worst eat it scenarios I've ever seen on that thing.
Ugh, brutal.
It's like why? Why?
Why would you do it?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I get like some of the like the Red Bull like fluke dogs and stuff like that. Those
where
are
you
like
launch, you create something that you think can fly, and you launch it off the ramp into the water.
the cheese roll and the
Well, because tradition, Danny.
Yeah. Well, and they're just
Tradition.
young, dumb, and
there's one
full
in,
of
yeah
gum.
yeah there's one I want to say in Spain or the Spanish islands where they run out on a greased pole.
Yeah,
It's like 25,
that's
30.
Greece, actually.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is
I
it
think
Greece?
it is Greece. Yeah.
Okay, that one is gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
The number of dudes who just
Rack
themselves in tremendous fashion.
No bueno.
And like you see the guys that rack the huevos and then like do the face smack and then fall off into the water, and it's like it's not a short trip to the water either.
So fun.
I'm like, why would you do that one?
So fun.
Hard pass.
Oh man.
What? No part of that. All right, coming up next, we'll talk about the future of the Minnesota Timberwolves now that they have been eliminated. But first, it's Big Gun Sports Center update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction. Check out their award-winning outdoor living designs or schedule your free design consultation at vulcandc.com. First on The Fan, we got Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals tonight at Madison Square Garden as the Knicks look to push the Pacers to a Game 6. 5 o'clock tip on TNT and Max. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 4:30. The Knicks are 4.5-point favorites. Over on the diamond, the Mariners and Nationals got a rubber match tonight at T-Mobile Park. 6:40 first pitch on FS1. Emerson Hancock starting for Seattle. Mackenzie Gore for Washington. The Mariners lead over the Astros in the American League West, now down to just a single game. Game 5 of the Western Conference Final in Dallas. The Stars trying to avoid elimination and force a Game 6 against the Oilers. Puck drops at 5 on ESPN. The Stars currently minus 130 on the money line. And round 1 of the Memorial Tournament at Murfield in Dublin, Ohio, winding down for the day. Ben Griffin birdied 4 of his final 5 holes. That led to a 7-under 65. He is 2 strokes clear of Colin Morikawa at 5 under par. Max Homa all alone in third at 4 under. And now tied for 4th at 3 under par, you got Shane Lowry and Keegan Bradley. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. And now, Window Nation brings you on-demand videos. Watch Window Nation's window into 1080 The Fan.
While last night's game featuring the Minnesota Timberwolves and Oklahoma City Thunder was a complete and utter debacle, disaster, however you want to describe it, after Minnesota Timberwolves scored a whopping 9 points in the first quarter, the bags were packed for Cancun, Turks and Cakes, or whatever establishment and island you would like to go to as a young multimillionaire in the NBA. The questions now abound for the Minnesota Timberwolves and what they do going forward, because they have some major financial discussions that they have to figure out. And one of those started in the offseason last year when Karl-Anthony Towns was traded to the New York Knicks for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. The Timberwolves now have to figure out how they add more creation around Ant Edwards. That has been the thing that is apparent. As much as Mike Conley's stabilizing force.
Are you in fast forward right now?
Oh, am I? Could be.
We're gonna go and talk some off-season.
Yeah, basketball, baby.
Good Lord.
Oh, maybe it's the fact that I cracked the third energy drink already.
Probably.
I usually only do 2 throughout the whole show.
Holy smokes.
This Monster Energy drink laced with speed.
The Minnesota Timberwolves.
Here we go. Now we got the AI version.
Chat DPM.
Oh, man. That was really fun.
But no, the Timberwolves have a lot of questions that they're facing going into this offseason because the financial ramifications of their roster. Now, ownership has been settled. The Laurie/Rodriguez ownership group is
A-Rod.
Won the court case, and it sounds like Glenn Taylor is going to relinquish the control to that group.
With his tail between his legs.
Yeah, he's still sitting courtside at games. Skeletor himself. But they have, the reason they traded Karl-Anthony Towns is because he's owed an obscene amount of money over the next couple of years. Julius Randle has a $31 million player option. Naz Reid has a contract that he's going to look at. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has a contract that he is looking at. And unfortunately for the Timberwolves, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, because of his very cheap deal, they can only use the bird rights to go up to offer him a max extension of $8 million a year. And that's not going to get it done. So will they lose him if they opt to sign Naz Reid to a $23 or $25 million a year deal? And again, you have to stop thinking about contracts, particularly in the NBA, as raw numbers. You have to think about percentage of caps. Jake Fisher had it in his article on the Steinline. I've been talking to Jake for the last couple of weeks, just back and forth on intel, is to try to get an idea of what he's hearing about the Trailblazers. And one thing him and I have been talking about a lot, and this is the thing that's going around the NBA. The going rate for a starter in the NBA who's capable of basically scoring 20 points a game, they are using Emmanuel Quickley's $32.5 million a year deal as the starting point.
Yikes.
That is just, and if you think about that, it's like, man, that is so much money. That's roughly 20% of the cap. But that's the reality of it. And I was talking to people yesterday, and they're like, well, that's Jalen Suggs' money. Well, I'm like, well, yes, but if you're an agent and you're not using Jalen Suggs as the guy, because Jalen Suggs is better. You use Emmanuel Quickley, who's not quite as good as Jalen Suggs, as an agent, because you go, my guy's better than Emmanuel Quickley.
As of right now, the Timberwolves have a $295 million roster heading in, and that's this. They have the second highest number of any team in the NBA this year, only second to the Phoenix Suns. It's higher than Boston. It's higher than the Lakers. It's higher than the Knicks, and that problem's only going to compound itself as they move forward because of everything that you're saying. And going over with those bird rights doesn't help you that much, man.
You're not going to be able to retain Nickeil Alexander-Walker at $8 million a year.
Heading into next year with their cap holds, they will be $4.5 million over the cap. Guys are still going to want to get paid because you made it to the Western Conference Finals.
And you need to find a way to improve this team.
You have to do it.
You have got to get additional creators. And does that mean Julius Randle opts into his deal and you hope you can trade him to Phoenix as part of an expiring deal, along with Rob Dillingham for Kevin Durant? But is that the creation that you need? Because I look at the Wolves and I think you need more rim pressure.
That's going to be really hard to defend, though, because of the fact that good luck running a box and one on Ant Edwards. And that's what slowed him down. And last night, he was forcing shots that people wanted him to force in Game 4. But they weren't falling because it's really damn hard to do.
Well, not just that, the turnovers, 14 first-half turnovers. The Thunder were
brutal,
just
man.
Banshees.
And that goes back to Lou Dort and Alex Caruso,
And Case and Wallace.
they play off ball defense so dang well.
They shoot passing lanes. They dig down on every drive. It is a thing to behold.
But with KD, one, you get a little bit more spacing.
You definitely have a release valve, but you don't have the rim pressure. And I think the thing that they need more is the rim pressure.
But you have Ant Edwards with being able to create with more space. Like that inherently would happen even with old KD out on the floor.
And is KD a better fit for that than Julius Randle? Probably. And it's a bummer that Julius's last 2 games were so bad because he was so good.
His second to last game was really bad.
But I mean, but both games, like he just wasn't functional. It just he is a bull in a china shop. He has some creation. Here's the problem with the Timberwolves, and this is why they trick games off. They fall apart. Because they don't Ant's a good creator and he can and will get better. He is never going, as much as he's going to be a primary engine, he's never going to be a primary creator. And I'm not saying they need Tyrese Halliburton. What they honestly need is they need Mike Conley from 10 years ago. A guy who doesn't take a ton of shots, but gets into the paint easily, effortlessly. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine with the Cavs last night, and he's like, I proposed a deal, and he's like, it'll never happen because Kobe Altman, the general manager of the Cavs, would never do it. I was like, what about Jaden McDaniels and Dante DiVincenzo for Darius Garland?
Yeah.
You finally get your small forward. You would have McDaniels, Mobley, and Allen in your front court. That's terrifying. That's my God. You're hoping that Mobley is going to continue taking the steps forward offensively, and Darius Garland would give them the Mike Conley-esque rim pressure while also still providing that floor stabilization, the organizing effects of Mike Conley.
And then you're moving Ty Jerome to your starting point guard in Cleveland, though?
No, he'd still come off the bench. I think you could have like a Donovan Mitchell, Dante DiVincenzo backcourt. That's doable. I think I would lean towards because they do have guys coming off the bench. You still have that ability. It would give you that flexibility. But their problem was being consistent defensively. They weren't able to slow teams down, particularly that forward spot. They tried to get that with DeAndre Hunter, and he just isn't that good of a defender to be that guy. Or Jay McDaniels was very clearly that guy.
He is that guy in spades.
Yeah, and I mean, again, we talked about him, 6'10", and incredible, crazy wingspan. I mean, he's a guy that's going to be on all defensive team conversations.
And
for his career.
You wouldn't be asking him to bear a scoring load as number 2.
No, because you're asking Evan Mobley to do that, and Donovan Mitchell is clearly your number 1 scoring guy.
Yeah.
It would never happen, but I was just like, these are the kind of exercises that I do in talking to people. Like, this seems like it makes sense for both teams. But that's the problem for Minnesota, because they have so many big contracts and because they're going to be in a potential squeeze. Their ability to kind of generate stuff going forward is going to be really interesting. They went in all early on Ant Edwards, and it is a team that has been absolute dog water for almost its entire existence, has back-to-back Western Conference Finals. That is not something to slouch at.
Nope.
It is a real achievement. It's a real accomplishment. And it's not, oh, look at the Wolves, oh, man. It's like, no, man. Being one of the Final Four teams in back-to-back years, the same can be said about the Indiana Pacers. Being at the mountaintop and being there means something. There's only one winner. If you were there consistently, you're doing something right. No matter what luck breaks your way or how things go, if you are consistently there year after year, you're doing something right and you are onto something.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be probably the most important summer, maybe in the Minnesota Timberwolves franchise's history. Look, as insane as that is to say, it probably is so far.
I don't think it is, because of where they've been at in KG. You could have said it back when KG was there, but he signaled and he got his way out, and you knew what it was. You're not in that situation right now.
No, and Ant is perfectly happy there, and is perfectly happy being the face of that franchise, and he's gonna get better. Did you see his comments after the game?
Which ones?
The one about being disappointed.
Yeah.
I thought his comment showed a ton of maturity. He said, I'm excited. I don't know why everybody would think that I'm hurt or disappointed. I'm excited. And whether that's real or not, the fact that he's saying it and doing the right thing shows a level of growth and maturity that I wasn't sure we were going to get from him.
I don't think a guy like Anthony Edwards fakes a comment like that. He's not a guy where you can plant a statement.
He's going to say what he's going to say.
He's going to say whatever he's feeling in that moment. And you're right. It was one of those, I like that.
Good for you.
Out of him.
Yeah.
Like, it should sting, but, he is excited. You shouldn't be disappointed to be one of the 4 best teams in the hell. We're here in Portland, and they're still talking about 2019.
Look, man,
Going one time.
Having a guy like Mike Conley who's sitting there telling you, man, I've been doing this for 18 years.
Hard to do.
It's hard to get here. Don't take this for granted. Pascal Siakam was on record, I want to say last week, talking about my 3rd year. I want a title. And I thought, we're just going to keep doing this. Like, this is how it's going to go.
Dan Marino thought he'd be back.
There's a video from Siakam. They held a workout at Siakam's house in the offseason. He's got his own court at his house, and the whole team came down. It's a really cool video of where he kind of goes into this. Is like, look, man, we need to do this a certain way because as much as you think as you're a young dude, like you've been winning since you got here because we've kind of built this thing pretty darn quick. It can be gone like that.
In an instant.
And you've got to be ready. You've got to have this figured out because you might never get back.
True.
And with that, the Pacers take on the New York Knicks tonight with the opportunity to move on to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2000 when Reggie Miller, Jalen Rose, and that crew, they made an appearance and had to deal with Shaq. They will have to overcome not a similar obstacle, but a very dominant obstacle in the Oklahoma City Thunder. Can they get it done, or will the Knicks push this series? That's how we'll wrap up today's show on Danny and Dusty, 10 The Fan. The Indiana Pacers have the opportunity here to go back to the finals for the first time in a quarter century. Last time there in 2000. If they can take on the Knicks tonight and send them home. Yesterday, Nemec and I talked about, will the Timberwolves show up and not make this a sad, sad go out? They did not. I did not have the highest hopes. I do, however, think the Knicks will fight.
There isn't, at Karl-Anthony Towns. Outside of Karl-Anthony Towns, there isn't a guy on that Knicks roster who's going to go out sad.
And Cat might not play tonight.
Yeah, that knee,
he hit
not
the
good.
ground like a sack of bricks.
And he gets, and I give him flack too, because of the reliability at times in crucial situations and clutch moments.
But he has played through some heinous stuff.
He's tough as nails, and he's been showing it through this series because he went down hard in game 4. It was game 3 that this is a surgically repaired knee meniscus that he dealt with before. Game 3 is when he started like flexing his leg and something happened in game 3. He played through it in game 4 and then re-aggravated it pretty significantly.
He went knee to knee and it was not good.
Not great, Bob.
It is classified as a contusion, but let's see what the summer off-season surgery report says.
Yeah. That sucks for him because he's going to catch heat because that's what New York media will do.
He's
but
soft and this, that. Look,
he's been.
Cat is not mentally. Like, I will pick apart Cat's game. I am not going to pick apart his mental toughness. For those that don't know,
he's got it together.
He went through some devastating family news through COVID. Lost his mom. Like this dude has been through hell and back.
Yep.
And for him, he continued to battle through and play despite tragedy after tragedy in his life.
Yeah.
Like, I don't question like that side of things. I don't question him with that stuff. I question him in, tough game moments, being mentally tough in those moments and doing what's necessary. But as far as being on the court and being able to play, I don't question that.
Look, Indiana's going to win this series. And that seems inevitable. They've been the better team throughout this series, even when they lose a game. They were up by 20 in it. The thing that's going to be a bummer for me is that if Indiana closes out the Knicks, it's the last NBA on TNT game inside the NBA. And we don't know, we know that Charles, Shaq, Kenny, and Ernie are going to be on ESPN. We don't know what that show is going to look like.
No, I mean, and Kenny Smith has talked about that.
That's going to be crazy. This is going to be the last iteration of it, and they have that documentary. Have you seen the documentary that they've been rolling out?
I've watched a couple of clips.
It's been awesome, dude. Yeah. It's been really cool. Ernie Johnson is one of the coolest human beings on planet Earth.
Just gets it. Dude.
I like him. And then it takes you just behind the scenes and the interactions that those guys have with the people that they work with, and you can see why that show works the way it does. I mean, it's awesome.
Knicks are 4.5-point favorites tonight.
And plus, if they wrap it up tonight, there's no basketball till next Thursday, correct?
Yeah, we get a whole week. Yeah. No hoopy.
I don't like that.
Sad Danny. Sad Danny.
The one thing I hate about the finals means basketball's over.
For those watching on YouTube, Isaac apparently doesn't know how to plug in his cellular telephone there. He's going through it right now. It just doesn't work. Try unplugging it and putting it in that little thing right there. Up next, IT with Isaac and Rob. It's prime time with Isaac and Souk. 4 hours of power. Their mouths are your ears. Have a great Thursday. See you Friday, noon to 3 right here on The Fan.
Bye.
What if the key to eternal happiness were